All right. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully that's on. Is that on? It looks like it is on. All right. Welcome back. It's Friday. How's everybody doing out there? I'm hoping good. I'm hoping well. I'm hoping everyone's doing all right tonight. Um, I look forward to this evening's conversation. Chances are it could go all types of directions, but as usual, dignity and maturity as always. And listen, whatever you say is whatever you're going to say. It's okay. Uh, we tend to be nervous about talking or saying something, but I don't. There's no reason to be. If we're supposed to be brothers and sisters in Christ, that's all that should matter. Good evening, brother Jorge. I don't know why your name is changed there on the thing. And good evening, shall stand forever. I'm sorry, shall stand. Oh yeah, forever. I read that right. I'm getting blind in my old age. Good evening, Prop 31 gal. Good evening. It's good to see you. Brother Bryson, good to see you as well. Glad to see you here this evening. Thanks for coming. So, most of you know that have watched this here for a while, but I'll reiterate. I always consider this a we the people. So, your comments, and I read everything here, and I enjoy the interaction. And the reason I've gone with this particular title, and this came upon me. Did I come with it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I was talking to my wife, and incident happened at work, and I love working. I love working for a living. No disrespect to some preachers or pastors. I mean none at all. But with all due respect to them, they will deal with those who are looking for help. They're dealing with Christians or even professing Christians or those who are seeking. So it's easy to talk with them and deal with them as opposed to I don't know. Sometimes it shows my name. Sometimes it shows my channel name. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's the first time I noticed it before. I've never seen it pop up that way before. But and I'll start the ball rolling. First, I actually want to say if the person tunes in tonight or another point in time, someone emailed me, and I'll post my email again. It's everydaymanofgod@gmail.com. I had gone away from that email and used a different email when I was on when I changed this channel's name, which I think that was more of me changing it than the Lord. And I think God put me back to the original channel name, which is what it is now. And I don't get any alerts on that other email. And someone had emailed me a month ago, and I don't know what in the world, why I decided to click on that email. I just clicked on it, and her email was in there, a sister in Christ, and I missed it. And I couldn't be more apologetic for that. And I apologize to that person. And I hope that they understand that I didn't ignore them, and I will email them. But I wanted to say sometimes, and I'm saying it public, sometimes we make errors and we make mistakes. We don't catch things. And the important thing is to apologize when we miss something and just take ownership of that. Hence being the title accountability, but that sister in Christ is not the reason for the title. But working in this world, we have to understand, and again, going back, I'm stumbling a little bit, but the pastors and preachers, they deal with people who are actually looking for things, and it's a lot easier to deal with people from that perspective. And even when you tell somebody you're a pastor or a preacher, they tend to treat you slightly different as if you were a coworker or somebody in the grocery store or down at the thrift market or the farmer's market, wherever it may be. It's a different approach. So I think we deal with things differently. Now, for me, I had something happen the other day at work. I'm a forklift operator. I operate forklift, a reach truck, and a telehandler, and so forth for my job. And we were given instructions from our higher ups not to be in two doors at the same time unless you're doing those two doors, but leave one door open. So we were unloading a truck, and another person, another worker, stopped what they were doing because they were trying. I was unloading the truck, and then they were taking the load I was unloading and bringing them to another spot. They stopped and opened up a second truck door that we're not working on at that point in time. And I was a little confused by it. And so, okay, then he finally picked up the skid because he just stopped. I had to stop because he stopped and he opened the door and he drove away. And I thought it was odd. So I just closed the door. Well, that person got angry, was angry with me and thought I was going behind their back. And that's what happens in the secular world. We think that only happens in the secular world, that people go behind your back and talk to other people. But we know, unfortunately, it happens in the Christian realm too. Gossip behind the people's back and talking about them and so forth. So what we have to show, and everybody at my job, no matter where I work, everybody always knows I'm a Christian. Everybody always knows that. That's just who I am. So I never hide that. Usually when people hear someone is a parson or something, they will change their behavior, or either more moral or more immoral, assuming the person's belief on religious folks. Yeah, they adapt their behavior to the situation. They're not usually themselves. They change their demeanor and adapt to that in that environment. So, anyways, this person, like I said, got angry. Now, they were railing at one point after my boss had talked to me. What happened? Blah blah blah. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Over one little thing. And my boss said I was right. But the problem with the boss is he on one hand said, yes, you're right. And yes, he was right. I'm like, well, we can't have two conflicting things. We either stick to one thing. We got to be on. And now we're going to have an SOP, a standard operating procedures, that keeps it on one. So as I'm talking to him, I confronted this gentleman at lunchtime in our office. And I asked him, and I said, hey, listen, because if anybody knows me, I'm one who says, "Oh, go to the person. Don't talk behind people's back, and talk to this person through that person." I directly talked to the gentleman, and he got angry. He started to get me riled up, and he really was just going to town. And there was one incident, and I'm glad there was a witness on there, another worker. They were sitting there, and I said, "Listen, since the first day I had started way back, you've been talking about everybody nonstop, saying everybody's an idiot and stupid and this and that." And he says to me, I never said that. And then he follows up with, you're a moron. And I said to him, I says, buddy, you just exposed yourself just in that moment by calling me name after you said you don't call anybody name. So that was said and done. Now, the Bible teaches us about being peacemakers. So you can call this corny or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. This morning when I went, it was lunchtime, my wife makes great banana nut bread. She puts walnuts in her banana bread. It's delicious. And so I brought an extra piece and I gave it to him. Because sometimes it's better that we take the high road. Sometimes it is so hard. And I'll be honest with you, way back in the day, I had an anger management problem. I was always angry way back. And I was ready to argue with you. But sometimes it's better to take the high road. It's better to swallow your pride. It is no. He did refuse the banana nut bread. He said, no, thank you. And I said, I promise I didn't make it. So you'll be safe. My wife made it. So he did let out a small, tiny chuckle at that. But again, that is not being, and some will say, oh, you're weak because you didn't stand firm. No, you have to use discernment and know when is the time to stand on something and when something is not worth it. And that situation to me was not worth it. As a born-again Christian, you do not have anything to prove to be right or wrong. Now, nobody wants to be wrong about things. Who wants to be wrong? Nobody wants to be wrong. I don't know a lot of people want to be wrong. But we know that it's not worth it. Whether you're right or wrong, just let it be. Just let it go. Depending, and I'm not talking about doctrinal things. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about your everyday walk of life. We have to learn, because if those people know, which they should, know that you're a Christian, that you're a born again, Bible believing Christian, if they know that, they will look for cracks. They will. And so that's why today I made that offer. It wasn't a work, it wasn't anything like that, but we have to do these things to show them that real Bible believing Christians don't just talk, they walk. It's just that simple. So today obviously went a little smoother. He still doesn't like me, and that's okay. You don't have to like me. It's okay. I said to my higher up boss, I says, the deal is, I don't have to like the guy in the trenches at work, but I have to be able to trust the guy in the trenches. I don't trust this particular person in the trenches. I don't. And I don't have to like him either. And he doesn't have to like me. But I'll have his back. Like today, well, actually yesterday and today, 2 trucks showed up late. He was in charge of that because my time was up for the day and he has an overlap time. And I offered to stay and help him out, and he wasn't interested. And today, again, I says, he actually, I asked him what truck is coming in. Then he said, can you help me till you leave? I said, I'll help you till it's done, man. Come on, buddy. I got you. I got your back. I'm not going to leave you. And that's what we have to show. Unfortunately, I wish more Christians showed that type of behavior. But that's what we have to, in my opinion, that's how we have to be. Even the non-Christians, to show this is who we are. This is what true Christianship is. Is Christianship a word? I don't know. Did I just coin a word? Maybe I'll put it on a t-shirt. Visit my merchandise store. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a merch store. That's a joke. Well, there's a couple comments. I'm sorry. Choosing peace is peaceful. Get back to work and get something done. Okay, so that would have been a little more something I would have said way back in the day. I'm like, all right, shut up and be a man. And you can do that, but we can be a man in different ways. We can show them how to do it a different way. And whosoever shall not receive you nor hear your words, when ye depart out of that house or city, shake up the dust of your feet. Matthew 10:14. Now, the good side of things is there's another young man who works there who has been asking me some questions, and I am pretty excited about that. So I've been talking a little bit here and there. See, I don't beat him down, and he just comes and asks me questions, and I answer him as we go. So different things, and I just talk to him different things, and hopefully, he'll make the choice. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. If you can, if it can be done, and we know that it may not always work out to that way, the best interest. But I wanted to, and you probably know these verses. There's a couple of them. Romans, if you got your King James Bible with you, Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12, verse 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. Oh, you're an 18. Oh, look at that. I just read 17 and you got 18 up there. I'll read 18 right now. If it be possible. Oh, we just did that one. Why am I reading it again? I'm sorry. But yeah. There's another one I had in my mind. But that's what people expect in this world. They expect that. They don't expect you to offer them a banana nut bread the next day at work after having a discussion or what could be construed as an argument. And I tried wholeheartedly to tell him. And I was trying to explain to him, and he said something about me having, I don't know what kind of power grab you're trying to do. And I'm like, power grab? I don't care about trying to be a supervisor or a team lead and all those things. I have no interest in those things. None of that matters to me. My walk with the Lord is more important to me. My family is more important to me. I'm in my 50s now. All that kind of stuff is for folks maybe younger who are interested in trying to be in charge of things, but I have no interest in that. Doesn't excite me one bit. I've been a supervisor, I've been a manager, and let me tell you, it ain't all it's cracked up to be 95% of the time. But I don't care about that. I think, and I've tried to explain to them, none of that matters. That's just worldly things and worldly pursuits that I'm not interested in. But I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn him the other also. Matthew 5:39. Absolutely. There is a saying which is, don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah. Unfortunately, this young man or this person likes to sweat the small stuff. Then he goes, what he does, because we're on a text form. So he texts one boss, texts the other boss. He's all mad and angry. And it blows up into this whole thing. I'm like, and there is a part of me is like, grow up. But I remember my stomach hurt a little bit because part of me wanted to lay out everything he's got going wrong. But at the same time, I had to realize, no, let us lead by example. Let's not have words. So that's the route I chose. That's how I decided. 1 Peter chapter 3. That's what it was. I know. I just like went off on a squirrel, as they say, squirrel moment. 1 Peter chapter 3. Verse 9. Not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. The world expects that. Again, they want this back and forth and the bickering. And the sad part is I see it in the Christian realm as well. And I see less lifting up. I see less exhortation and more attacking. And now maybe I could be blamed or accused of doing the same things. And, well, you attacked that person and said that you didn't think they might have been saved. Well, that's a feeling I have. Now, some people may be saved and they may be backslidden, but sometimes I think when there are actions that happen that lead me to believe that, sometimes we can't truly know if someone's saved when we think they are, but there are just some things that their behavior, their tone, a lot of those things start to make you leave. I don't know. I think something's off here. Where's my pen? I don't know where my pen. But I mean, let me know your feeling. Well, Brother Bryson's been chipping in and telling me his feelings. But do you not feel that you should be a light, which we should be? And I was even talking to my boss, the same thing. My higher boss, I says, as a born again Christian, I have no interest in having these arguments and these disputes and this childish drama stuff. That's not my thing. Yeah, you're right. All of 1 Peter 3, 9 through 16 is definitely good for this conversation. And why don't we read it? When I say we, I'll read it out loud here and you guys can follow along. All right, chapter 3. Nope, I'm in the wrong one. I'm in 2 Corinthians. I was going to 1 Peter and I think I skipped by it. What in the world was I thinking? But I'll tell you, and that's what happens when you're not in the world working for a living and you just sit at home and do nothing all day. Now, I know some people could be injured and stuff like that. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those who act the way they do and don't think they need it. Now, we'll start again from verse 9. Not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. For he that will love life, see good days. Let him refrain his tongue from evil and his lips that they speak no guile. Let him eschew evil and do good. Let him seek peace and ensue it. For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. And who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? And if ye are ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye. And be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear, having a good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you, as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation in Christ. I say we go right to the end. I'll read Big Elite. Brother Jorge, I'll read yours in a second. By which, well, did I go too far? For it is better if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well doing, than for evil doing. For Christ also hath once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometimes were disobedient, when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls, were saved by water. The like figure whereunto even baptism doth also now save us, not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience toward God, by the resurrection of Jesus Christ, who is gone into heaven, and is on the right hand of God, angels and authorities and powers being made subject unto him. I just felt like finishing the rest of it. If you didn't mind, I hope that didn't bother nobody. All right, Brother Horace says, a couple of days ago I didn't sleep well. I'm sorry to hear that. I had a feeling my boss was going to ask me when was I going to be done. Sure enough, in the morning he asked me if I was done. I just had to tell him no. Yeah. Well, bosses are trying to hurry up and get things done. They're trying to make the money. They're trying to, reach deadlines, which is often the case. They always have a deadline. I find that some people, when they bid on a job, they also tend to give a customer a deadline that isn't exactly feasible completely all the time, but they want to try to make it anyways. And they say, well, can you work this day? Well, can you come in extra? Can you do this? And maybe you shouldn't have bid for the job, but they got the job and they cut the corners and they make the money the best they can and they go forward. Luke 12. I'm going to give you one more verse and then we'll continue talking here. And we got pages stuck again. 12:47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. I only threw that in because the world will beat you. They will beat you down. They'll attack you left and right. They're going to come at you, especially if they know that you're a Christian. If they know you're a born again Christian, they know. I was talking to another worker, and I said, "Hey, I know you don't know the scriptures, or you're not really into the scriptures." But then I basically quoted them the scriptures. I'm weaving cedar shakes. He said to hustle. Even hustling, weaving cedar shakes appears slow. Now, I'll have to look that up later because I'm not sure what that means. I know what cedar is. Brother Bryson puts in, he that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. Which leads me a conversation I had with a young man at the warehouse last week. And I might have mentioned this conversation. He doesn't have motivation to work for the company of which we have. And he doesn't put a whole lot in all the time. And I says, I'm happy to have a job, but we do the best we can and we work hard. And he said, yeah, I'm not going to work for this piece of junk place. He used other language. I said, dude, imagine how much you could do one day if you work hard at a place you don't even like. One day you'll be so much better where you want to be in life. How can you be good at something when you can't even do the least amount of jobs? You can't even do a simple thing like sweep. If you can't sweep a floor, how are you going to expect to be doing anything larger than that? So there's no corner boards. Think basket weaving. I'm weaving. Hold on one I apologize. I had to sneeze there for a second. Oh, to pay back kindness to brother Nick over at his channel at Revolution. I was watching a little bit of this and a little bit of his, and someone let me know that he actually plugged my channel over there. I didn't get to respond to it, unfortunately, because I was going to supper, and then when I came back to watch it, the rest of it. So, if you ever go to his channel or want to go to channel, he deals a lot with, you know, how I do the Westcott Hort and stuff like that, and I do the different scriptures and comparing them. He does a phenomenal job over there. He goes deeper. I was just telling my wife, I feel like my videos are almost like an appetizer. I'm pretty, keep it simple, keep it light, and then he gives you that 4-course meal. So I don't know if anybody, Brother Jorge, I think you know who he is. But Brother Bryson, if you never heard of him, it's channels at Revolution. Brother Jorge, I forgot to put you as a moderator on my channel. I totally forgot. I'll do that at some point. But yeah, his channel is called Revolution. I could probably try and pull it up and put it in the link below, or the link during it at some point here. But oh, I just pressed the wrong one. No, I didn't. That's the right button. What? Oh, I just pressed the wrong button. Oh no, that was the same button earlier. But he's like the 4-course meal of stuff. I will warn you ahead of time. His I've gotten to be as long as him lately, but he is can go 4 or 5 hours long. In fact, it looks like he's actually still on. Let me pull him up for a second. I got a commercial over here first. I don't have it on shared screen, so let me skip the channels here. Yeah, it's called Revolution. He's still going. 4 hours and 46 minutes he's been on. I had to leave that channel. Told him I have to go. But he's let me see if I can get the shared screen. I think it'd be rather respectful since he did it, and I was a little surprised by it taking off that he spoke on my channel. Here he is. This gentleman here. This is Revolution. So just thought I'll let you know that. So I'm gonna just pause that, and then go back to unshare, remove. All right. So whenever you get a chance, check his stuff out. He goes deeper into a lot of the Textus Receptus, Westcott Hort, Scripture, the deception of different ones. I thought he was signing off. When I got off, it looked like he was getting ready to be done, but he's still going. So he can go forever. So I won't be mad if anybody's watching him instead of me. That's a good choice. He's better than I am. So he's a good cat. But I was watching a channel the other day. Doctor, he likes to be called Doctor, but I call him George. I think Brother Jorge says Georgie. It's not Georgie, it's George, but that's okay. I had an opportunity to be on there for a few minutes on his live stream and talk a little bit, supporting the King James. But what I saw, and I'm going to tell, going back to what I was talking about earlier, is I see less exhortation and more attacking one another and calling each other not too bright. And I think people, and I was watching in the chat line, and it's unfortunate. I had like maybe 2 slings and arrows thrown at me, which doesn't bother me. But that's what we have. We have people in those chat forums sometimes, and where you won't see that, and I see it in his videos, but I never see on his channel. Hold on. I searched his channel. Is he a Calvinist against KJV, or is he he's reacting to that. He's pointing out the fallacies of that guy, Keith Foskey's stuff. And when he put him up, I've seen him before. I saw some stupid videos he does, like if a denomination was a gun or something like that. And what was the other one? There's another YouTube short he had. If it was a car or a Halloween party or something, I don't know. He did goofy stuff like that. And right now, I'll tell you, I'm not a good teacher and I'm not a good preacher, and I was watching this guy here. He's got not Brother Nick here, but the gentleman, the Calvinist there. I think he's a terrible teacher. I just that's just me. That's my opinion. But no, Brother Nick is a TR Receptus guy. He's a TR guy. He's a Texas Receptus guy. Did I say TR Receptus? Texas Receptus. TR. Hold on one second. So that's he's the what's the parallel Greek, the English KJV New Testament. This is his deal. Now, I don't say that you need to know this. I've never said it, never will, that you need to know Greek on the original language. I look at it because I enjoy it. I just enjoy. That's just something I enjoy to do. It's not something I think is needed. You must know the original languages or you're not saved. Well, that's kind of strange because when you hear people like that, I don't know. No, you can't be a doctor. I don't know why you think you can be a doctor. No. What are you going to be? Doctor of boards? Dr. Board? Dr. Woods? Dr. Lumber? Dr. Carpentry? I don't know. But yeah, everybody likes to call themselves doctor. It makes them feel, I think for some, it could be narcissistic. I think for others, it's a sense of belonging to call themselves doctor. Some, they have different reasons for it. Not everybody who does it has the same reasoning. What is Nick's beliefs on the Masoretic text? I absolutely don't know, actually. I've never actually seen him talk about the Masoretic. He probably has touched upon it. You should definitely go to his channel and ask him one of these days. But he's all I know is he's definitely a TR. He's a King James guy. He's a King James preferred onlyist. I would call myself a King James onlyist because that's a term that everybody likes to use. And if you've watched me before, I became a King James onlyist before I knew that there was a movement style thing. Now I've heard there are people who are King James like only, and they stick to it, but I didn't know there's what's considered a movement. Yeah, you really go. That's awesome. That's hilarious. I might go ask him right now since he is live. I will be back, he says. All right, well, tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi. I appreciate him. But let me mute him. He's still going. Man, as Brother Christopher's not with us tonight, but as he would say, bless his heart. And he's just still going. He's still going. You gotta love him. But he has some great stuff over there. Brother Nick is awesome. And what I was going to say is I'm seeing a difference in the people who speak in different chat forms. Now, I very rarely have seen anything negative among people in that chat forum. They all seem to be pretty respectful of each other. I've seen a couple of disagreement, like small things like, well, I kind of think the meaning of this is that. But overall, I've seen not a lot of negativity there. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, and I've got nothing against George over there at Council on Mike, but so much negativity in the chat forum over there. I'm astounded by that. I don't know why. And I'm not one for banning people or anything like that, but at some point I'm like, my goodness, why is there so much hate? But there's definitely hate for King James onlyist. I can tell you that. They say, oh, King James people hate everybody else. Who, the Westboro Baptists? Is it typically like that for him? Are you referring to George or you talking or Nick? If you're talking about the negative comments in George, yeah. There's usually a couple of them. I think one of them subscribed to my channel way back. I don't know if they're still subscribed or not, but yeah, it's quite often that. Hey, Brother Bryson, I'm gonna keep Brother Nick's channel up here. I want to see if you actually ask him. So I don't know if it's off topic for him or not, but yeah, you'd be free to ask him. He's a very intelligent man and the right type of he is over there. Okay, this is new for me. I've never done this before. So Brother Bryson is over there. Dr. George, that's what I think. That's what I think debates invite. Yeah, and he doesn't debate on his channel, but he's been on debates. But debate channels, yeah, to bring all the anger out. Amazing how that is. They do. It's wild how that works out. I see more anger and hatred when it comes to that. I don't brother. So okay, does anybody want to see Brother Bryson on the other channel to see what he's saying? He actually wrote, Brother Nick, what is your beliefs of the Masoretic text? The brother of Everyday Man of God Ministries, the brother of Every Man of God Ministries said hi. Sorry, I'm tired. That is hilarious. I would love to have him on one day, or love to talk to him. He's an incredibly intelligent man in this field. I think we all have a field that we're somewhat good at. But I'm happy here on our channel. When I say our channel, I mean that. I sincerely mean our channel. This isn't my channel. It's all about me. I'll reiterate, and I've said it before. I create this I create this for we the people. You know, and we the people of the brothers and sisters to be comfortable with one another. And unfortunately, we don't have that fellowship now. Nick is great for the theological stuff and things like that. Oh, I'm gonna unmute this.
What is your beliefs on the Masoretic text, the brother of Everyday Man of God Ministries? I believe the Masoretic text is a true text. I don't think we should go to the Septuagint or anything else. I don't think the Masoretic text was tampered with.
Anybody want to listen?
I think it is the true text. I don't think they made it up. I think they faithfully copied it.
Now we know what he thinks.
That the King James translation is a faithful representation of the Masoretic text, and the King James translators knew their Hebrew fluently. They knew it very well, and they were able to accurately translate that text. The brother of Everyday Man of God Ministry said hi. Sorry, I am tired. Yeah, me too. I'm just under 5 hours here, so it's quite a while. But thanks, guys, for those who have stuck through these 5 hours. I didn't expect it to go this long, but once I get on Revelation 16:5, I can do.
Yeah, so I'm gonna mute him now. Yeah, he went over. Good for Brother Bryson though. Just go right over and ask the question. See, look at, and he answered. Why can't we have more of that? And that's what I wish we had more of. Men who would just answer the question they're asked instead of just dancing around things and not getting to the point. You know, it's just they want to. And by the way, I do agree with Brother Nick. I have no reason not to believe him. I'm going to shut down the other channel, but okay. But and without feeling not selfless was the word I'm looking for, without feeling worried and about our self-esteem, and I don't want to look dumb. And I'm very happy and I'm very thankful that overall we've had a couple of people come in here and be a little bit negative, but overall everybody's been here, and I couldn't be any more thankful and grateful that people have been respectful to one another. And I'm sure we all are not going to always see perfectly eye to eye. There may be something we might be a little different. Like, well, I'm kind of seeing this, and that's what we talk about. We don't just go, well, no, you're wrong, and get off my channel. You know, people don't do that. Yes, Brother Bryson, just so you know, we watched you do that. We actually pulled up the video and watched it. So later, if you go rewatch this, you'll see that we put it up there. And we were making a comment on the fact that I was just making a comment that I wish we had more men who would just get to not dance around it. He just answered the question directly and said, "That's what I believe." Yes. So, and good for you to go over there and ask him. And thanks for saying hi to him. But and like I said before, going back to what you just said here, Brother Jorge, You're right. He calls them open mics. Yeah. But, and I'm not saying everything has to be an echo chamber. You know what I mean? I'm not for echo chambers as well, but there has to be some sort of a conversation. That was the first me watching a live stream of a live stream. Yeah, I was surprised that he was still on. It's like 5 hours he's been going. And I'll watch sometimes, and I'll have him in the background. I'll watch for a little bit, and I'll do research and do some stuff. I don't always catch his stuff because he's in Australia, so the time difference in Australia clearly is different than here. So, I know there was, I can't remember what it was, but there was something I think I disagree with him on, but it wasn't anything to part company over. I was like, I don't think so. But Prov Gal, that was priceless. Okay. But and I just hope in the future that we have folks who are willing to come here with maturity, no matter what age, and respectfulness and dignity, because that's what we need. I told my wife I don't see many places, and I don't look for a lot of them, but we're just nice, decent fellowship and people just talking, and we never know which direction it's going. But I'm on the fence with Dr. Georgie. You keep calling Georgie. I just read it right there. It's a George, but there are things that concern me. There's some, I don't know, worldly aspects I think he has, and so I disagree with those things. But it's all the bickering that I see, and I don't know why. And like you see your brother Nick, I see no bickering over there. And yes, you can consider it maybe an echo chamber. That's fine. Um, Now I don't mind on other videos that I do if people want to be bickering or call me dumb or stupid and all those things. None of that bothers me. But and that's why when I type into the titles or the descriptions of this, it just says with dignity and maturity as usual, because that's the way it should be. Brothers and sisters should have a level of maturity, a level of self-awareness and respect for others that they're speaking to or speaking with. That's the thing. And at times I think we can almost slip into gossip sometimes, but we have to be careful. Talking about someone in the proper manner isn't a bad thing, but I think when it turns into a lot of backbiting and they did this, they did that. I'm like, come on, man. Well, they're not very bright. They're stupid. Wait, did you know they were married before? Did you know they were divorced? Did you know that they left a church before? They're in a church building now. When they say they don't agree with church building, do you know they left the church building? And even though they said they wasn't going to leave a church building, it's just all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, man, you're so far off, so far. I am studying the Apocrypha and its influence on the Talmud. It is an interesting study of the fifth kingdom, Rome and Israel. Well, we'll have to. I would like to eventually do things of the nature of, I don't want to say open mic. I don't know if that's how I want to call it, but of having folks on. I think it'll be easy to do, and just have conversations that hearing someone else's perspective on something and what they're looking at and studying the Bible. And I think it's important because sometimes I think true Bible believing Christians tend to feel isolated a little bit. And they shouldn't feel that way, but they do feel that way because you don't fit in. You don't. It's not a negative thing. You just don't. You don't fit in around people around you. And it becomes harder to find the people to fit in around and to be able to have conversations. And there's things you want to say, but you don't want to say them to the pastor or the preacher at your church, because then you feel like, why do you have the right to talk? You're just a guy studying, and they're supposed to be smarter than you. And there's a lot of anxiety for some people to think less of themselves, and I think that has to do with the people around them. But yeah, I think it'd be nice if we can pull that off someday. I'll have to figure out. I think you just somehow drop a link down and people just talk. I have no idea. I'd have to figure that out. It should be pretty simple. So I will definitely try to figure that out. If you guys are interested in doing it, If you guys are interested in doing it, I'll do it. I got no problem with that. I just don't want any fighting or anger or anything like that, or name calling, or if you're calling somebody out, calling someone out, I think it should be in the right manner, not in just be trying to be negative and trying to expose someone. And I've spoken about two people in general that I know some of you personally have a lot to do with, and people that are not watching have personal deal. Now, I have my issues with them, but one, they've made me question if they've backslidden or what their goals are. But I've forgiven one of them that I had direct dealings with. I've forgiven them and moved on. They're gonna be where they're gonna be, and you just have to let it be. There's no reason to talk bad about them on your YouTube channels and be a Facebook keyboard warrior and all that kind of stuff. I just got started. The Talmud refers to apocryphal characters like Raphael, the angel, and Asmodeus, the devil. The Talmud also quotes Sirach in many places. I have the Talmud up there. I have not dove deep into it. Where is the Talmud? That's the Everyday Man Talmud over there. Everyday Man, Everyday Talmud, or Everyday something Talmud. Yeah, I'm pausing because I'm trying to look on one of the bookcases, and I thought it was over there. I have it down there? No. I have the Kabbalah on the floor over here. It's where it belongs, on the floor, next to the Dead Sea Scrolls book. Yeah, it's not down there either. Sometimes I have some right to my desk that I was going through and can't find where it is. Oh. I just found a book I forgot I even had today. I was going through the file cabinets because I had some more books stuffed in file cabinets because now I need another bookcase over here. But I wish I had that in front of me. But anyways, what are you going to do? I'm actually about to order. It was pretty cheap, a first edition of the JW book, the New World Translation, back in 1950. I've been doing the WH from the 1984, but I also looked up the scriptures online through the 1950, and it reads the same. So, I am relying on a Jewish site right now. Okay. Hey, listening from their perspective on their stuff can be helpful to understand where they're coming from. No, that's not it. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I tend to believe you should be more often actually do more time studying the Bible in front of you than the others. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yes, there is. From my understanding, there is. Now, it's been and I apologize, it's been a really long time since I dove into a lot of that stuff. I have Babylonian, no, that's mythology, Rome, medieval Rome, religion in Rome, and I can't find. Might even be in my files, but I don't know. But this was all the time about the Kabbalah. This is the one I have that was on the floor. I have this particular one. Usually I have this over with my New Age stuff because this is some wicked stuff. Someone once was trying to tell people, don't have these in your home because the devil is on these, and only men of God should have them on their bookcase because they need it for study. And to me, you just put power into this. You put your own power into this, and doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like when I went into that Catholic church to leave gospel tracts on the seats. I was going to confront when I say confront, I don't mean that in a negative way, like I was going to go after the priest, but I was waiting to the end so I can talk to the priest and tell him he needs to repent. But someone said to me, he goes, why are you in there? They have all those statues. Oh, I'm like, they don't have any power over me. You're giving false power to things. Let's just say, oh, he's talking with, okay. You're the one who gives power to things. The statues and these no. All of it will play off of each other. There are pieces that you'll see show up in different areas, but no, they're not exactly the same. Hold on one second. I'm trying to think if that's the Talmud book up here. Oh no, this is something. I'm sorry, I had the wrong book. This is The Life and Times of Jesus, the Messiah. That was a different. I apologize. I thought that was the Talmud book I was looking for. I cannot find it right now, and I apologize. The Talmud is somewhere. I don't know where it is. Now it's going to be frustrating me because I don't know where it is on the bookshelves. So I do apologize for that. But I made a loud noise as I dropped it. Now I'm all over the map. There was something I was going to talk about, but I can't remember. I have a book. I'll ask you guys if you no, this isn't it. There's a book that I got, and I did not know I had this. So if anybody here, because if y'all recognize this, somebody let me know, because I have this. I don't know if you know me, I'm always picking things up. I'm finding things at thrift stores. Rarely do I order anything, but I did order up the dark. Well, actually, I should say I'm ordering up this weekend off of some thrift book website, the Darby translation. So, but I don't know what this is because it's got no date. So, if anyone out there recognizes, now I'm gonna date this as the early 1900s. This was ordained for church reading, and there's no date in it, but I'm always grabbing stuff. And yes, the Kabbalah is basically a cult tradition, while the Talmud studied diverse traditions of the Pharisees, Sadducees, and the sages. But what the Kabbalah, when the Jews, certain rabbis and stuff like that, they will, in different sects, whether it be the Ashkenazi or whatever sect you're talking about, that you'll find weirdly that they'll slip in different things. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the modern Bible onlyists who slip in or take out certain things, a little of this, a little of that. So one has to be careful of that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't mess with it, but I had it for, I got it because I thought it'd be great to go through to prove some points, because some people say, oh, the Kabbalah doesn't say that. You got that off online or something like that. And this is a paper copy. So, I mean, I don't know how old this is. I have no idea. Probably from the 70s. 1979. Oh, this one's 79. The original printing of it was in 1967, but this particular one is from 1979. So if I can find anything, it's fantastic. But again, like I said earlier, I want to reiterate again from the beginning. I would take a lesson from places like, yep, 100% agree. This is where some folks will probably be mad at me or whatever. I almost disregard the Apocrypha. I know, but brother brother Shelstan says, I would just caution about relying on the Apocrypha too much. Some historical research is beneficial, of course, but some fall into the trap thinking the Apocrypha is inspired, which it clearly is not. Clearly, it is not. And you've seen the rise of this of late, needing to know the original tongues, needing to know the Apocrypha, a push for the Apocrypha, a push for the original Greek and Hebrew. I've never seen it in my lifetime. I mean, I'm not the oldest man in the world. I'm only in my 50s, but still, I've never seen. No matter what church I had gone to growing up, no matter what church I had gone to, even after the Pentecostal church, went to non-denominationals, went to a couple different other ones. None of them ever said things like in the Greek, in the Hebrew. None of them. I'm not saying they didn't exist, but I'm just saying it never happened. Now, the last two churches I had gone to, literally would do that now in the Greek. The Greek word for it, the Hebrew word for it, it fascinates me is why that's such a presence now. Well, I call it the end days, and but of needing to know these words. And I will stand on things, and I guess someone will call me, I guess, what do you call it? A Ruckmanite. That's what they call it. I would agree with Peter Ruckman, even though he studied the stuff. You won't need it. You don't need it. Now, again, if you're talented in diverse tongues, learning how to speak in different languages, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And I like to learn a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I think it's interesting too. But none of that I learned because I need to know the Bible better. We already have the words of God right here. We're good. We have everything we need right here. So why would we need all those other things? And one might say, well, Stephen, then why do you have the Greek text over there? Why do you have the Textus? Because I enjoy it. I enjoy trying to learn those things because I think it's fun. Not for salvation, not to prove I'm saved, not to try to make sure the King James is correct. None of that. I believe we have it. I believe we have every word of God. Now, I will say I'll use some of it. I've also looked into these things quite a bit. It can be exhausting. Even look into the highly regarded Septuagint. There's plenty of hidden motives by these men who are pushing it. Indeed. Oh man, I'm falling all over the place. I got books everywhere. I really gotta clean up these books. They're everywhere. Septuagint. I do have that. Let's see. I don't know what year this was made. 1954. This happens to be a 1954 copy. It's not like some 1800 or 1700, but 1954. Yeah. So this is the Septuagint Bible in English. So it somehow was translated into English as you can go through all of these things, and Basilion and Joshua and the Chronicles. So I've looked at this a few times. I've gone through it a couple times when I've had an opportunity, but then I get sidetracked and I go elsewhere. So unfortunately, I'm not a brilliant man. I'm not a professor or anything, but I'll start something and I'll go into another book and I'll go into something else and I'll go another book. So when I say book, I don't mean like just commentaries. I'll look at like the Septuagint, or I'll look at the Greek book, the Greek text for a second for something, just out of fun. But the reason I do it, because if you watch the series Westcott and Hort, and that's why I have these things, I just point these things out, the differences in them, and why there's so many red flags all over the place to prove the point there. But other than that, oh, I just hit the wrong button, I think. Hold on. The funny thing is that they believe that the Septuagint was used by the Jews in Israel during Jesus' time, which is stupid. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff. And I will say, I forgot that I have a book by Peter Ruckman on the Septuagint. I totally forgot that I even had that. Let's see. Where's that? I put it in quotes because what it is highly debatable. Yes, there are numerous things called the Septuagint. Like a lot of things, there's a lot of fraudulent items out there. But and I don't believe the Septuagint whatsoever. I think so. When I was talking to the young man at work today, and he was asking me about modern Bible, he was talking to me about he asked me, is Muhammad in the Bible? And I says, how do you mean? And he goes, well, he was listening to a guy, and that guy told him Muhammad is in the Bible. I says, well, what's the reference? Where do you think it is? Are you talking about, well, he's a descendant, he said. I mean, well, what do you mean by descendant? Because, we're all descendants of one place, right? So where is it? And I says, Muhammad's not in the Bible, so to speak, unless I could be in the Bible, because of the fact that we're a genealogy of way, well, the 1800th second cousin of type of thing. So I think people have to be careful when they get in this whole genealogy thing. I'm not a big fan of it. I think people get really wrapped up into it, which the Jews, according to these scholars, spoke Syriac and read the Bible in Greek, when in reality the Jew Hebrews spoke Hebrew and read the Bible in Hebrew. Yeah, you know what's interesting is modern Bibles don't want you to know certain things like that, because I'll tell you, I found interesting, and that'll be an upcoming video as well. I think it was it's in Luke. I want to say it's Luke 4:18. I forget what it is, but it removes, what were the three? Greek, Latin is written in different languages, right? The King of the Jews. But what the languages were are removed from a lot of your modern Bibles. Pretty much most of all that I've gone through and put it on the upcoming video for the Westcott Horde series. Is a reason why we want to do that. Mass confusion. So I was talking to this young man. He says, "Well, how did you know the King James is the right Bible?" So I said, I knew when I started reading it, but it wasn't until Luke 4, and it was Luke 4:4. The Old Testament took a while to go through. Yeah. And I'm reading the New Testament, and I knew some things were off. And then for some reason, Brother Jorge will remember this. Luke 4:4. Well, he wasn't there. He just knows the story. Luke 4:4, for some odd reason, stuck out more than anything else, having half the verse missing. Because, again, I've said the story 100 times. I know, bear with me. But I was telling this young man at work today, Luke 4:4, half of the verse is missing out of all the modern Bibles. And I told him what it was, and he says, "Well, it seems kind of important because it says, yeah, because he said it makes you think that there's more, but there's nothing there." Right? When you take out half the verse, that's what happens. So when you go to Luke 4:4, hey, Brother Christopher, I was just speaking of you earlier when I said God bless his heart. I was talking about a gentleman on the other way. Every day we obviously can always have different opinions on various and still be brothers, but I'm not a fan of Ruckman. Well, I don't think I've ever said I was a fan of Ruckman. Like I said, I have 4 books from Ruckman, but I think some people can speak some truth. So he has some truth in what he talks about. But there's a lot of things and I think Brother Nick has talked about the whole UFOs and all that kind of stuff, and government conspiracies and aliens underground. Now, I will say there are government conspiracies, but that has nothing to do with us, and I don't know why he talks about it. I've never watched any of his videos or read his books on it, so I don't know. So, but I will say this: going to this whole Ruckman thing. Now, I was actually called a Gipp part, that I sounded like Sam Gipp. My thoughts I was asking. No. So, again, I had no idea who Peter Ruckman was. Didn't have a clue in the world who this guy was. Not a single clue. I didn't grow up in the King James world, so I don't know who this guy is, you know. So I grew up in a Pentecostal church, not a great one, obviously. So that's where I grew up. So I was led to believe the true people were Jimmy Swaggart, Jim Baker, Oral Roberts, all these guys, Kenneth Hagin. Trying to think some more names of that time frame that my father will listen to. Obviously, Pat Robertson, stuff like that, because we're in Assemblies of God. So that was my exposure. So that's what I knew. You know what I mean? It wasn't until leaving that, and I always, it's what I knew, but you knew something wasn't right. You just didn't know. Now, this is pre-internet era. So I get a little annoyed sometimes when people say, well, the internet, you can find all this information out. I'm like, dude, I didn't have internet in 1988, 87, 86. And it's great that people have the internet to look this up, and that's awesome. Oh, you and your Steve Quayle. Yeah. Steve Quayle, the prophet. That's another genius. So when it came to Ruckman, somebody had mentioned that if because I talked about I'm a firm believer in the King James onlyness, and brother Nick is right when he says this. It's weird. You're a Ruckmanite if you're a King James person, and I didn't understand that whole thing. That's weird. And I'm talking about before I heard him say it, because I'm like, I don't understand who Peter Ruckman is, and so I had to look into this guy. So I became a King James onlyist before them. Sam Gipp, I never had heard of him. Never even heard of that guy. I don't have any books from Sam Gipp. I have the one book my brother sent me from Gail Riplinger, which I still never even haven't looked at. Just haven't had time to look at it. So in a way, I feel blessed to become a King James, onlyist, or preferred. We're putting now a lot of titles on different things. I became that without knowing who these men were. I became that by just reading the King James Bible. That's how I got here. I didn't get here because of some commentaries or a YouTube channel and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that nobody can find somebody good on YouTube and be led to the Lord and to the right Bible version and stuff like that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying for me. So I read more comparing the scriptures of all the different Bibles, Geneva, Tyndale, and so forth. But that's me. So when you say a fan, I would also have to say that I like Brother Nick very much. I think he has a lot of great stuff, but there were a couple things I would disagree with. So I'm not a Nick-a-Night. Nick-a-Night? Actually, wasn't that channel Nick at Night a long time ago? I think they had a Nick at Night TV station. But I think it's weird we call people things because we want to put them in a box, which is interesting to me. I'm going to read that in a second. John 19:20, an example from my previous comment. I just because I wanted to answer that thoroughly for you, brother. Shall stand for forever. Well, that was for you guys. You sound a lot like Stephen LeBlanc to me. Hey, don't put my government name out there. No, I'm just kidding. That used to be a thing people say. Don't put my government name out there. All right. So let me read you for the previous comment just to remember what you said. Which comment we're talking about. The Jews, according to you said previous comment. So I'm going to the NIV also changed Hebrew and all Greek texts. Hebrew also into Aramaic, which is a scholar word for. Oh, they probably did, because you got to remember the NIV is based off of not only Nestle Alam, but it's based off Westcott Hort, obviously, and Tischendorf. They actually refer to Tischendorf a little bit as well. So, John, what was it again? John, I lost it. John 19:20. Okay. I lost where it was. All right, John, let's go to John chapter 19:20. I don't want to skip over anything here. Try to pay attention as fast as I can. I'm an old and feeble man. John 19:20. All right. John 19:20. I mean, I know Aramaic is Hebrew are early to each other's sound. Yeah. This title, then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. All right. So let's grab our NIV. Where are my NIVs at? Got 100 NIVs. Where they all go? All right. Do you guys know where I put it? There it is. Hold on. we're going to take the I was kidding, Chris. Brother Christopher, I was kidding. That was a joke. That was a joke, man. I'm good. John 19:20. We're gonna go straight. Now, this is the 1976 NIV New Testament. That's when that came out. So we'll go to 1920. And you were saying 19. I could pull up all the computer stuff, but I'm a paper print guy. That's what I am. I'm not knocking anybody who tries to use computer. That's just who I am. Maybe it takes a little longer. I know. All right. In the NIV, verse 20. All right. Many of the Jews read the sign, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. So again, like you said, when you go back to 20, it says what? It's written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. Interesting turn of phrase. Yep, you're going to see that. That doesn't surprise me. Now, let us find out where they got it to now. Let's roll over to the ERV here. Did I say ERV? The RV, Revised Version. That would be this one here, the Revised Version, 1881. Let's see what it says. Let's see if it matches word for word or if there'll be a one word difference. So in John chapter 19. Amazing grace, how sweet. That song never gets old. Alrighty. This title, therefore, read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and in Latin and in Greek. So at least in the Westcott Hort keeps it there. Which is plus the push from Catholic type movies that Jesus allegedly spoke Aramaic, like the Passion. Acts 26:14 has the ascended Christ speaking Hebrew. The Passion is the one with that's the Mel Gibson movie, right? I'm thinking it's a Mel Gibson. Jim Caviezel or something like that, who played Jesus, who's a Catholic, by the way. And which is interesting, is Jim Caviezel is a Catholic, and Mel Gibson is an old Catholic, which means he's a sedevacantist. He believes in the vacancy. There is no pope, so he follows sedevacantism. So that's his thing. He wants to go back to then. So I'm guessing that Jim Caviezel is the same way. He wants to go back to that time as well. So they all want to go old school. And when I mean if the Catholic gets to go old school of that nature, they'll bring back the persecutions. Let's just be honest. I'm just saying. I was interested what version it would have pulled up, where it would have started being changed over, and that's another thing we talk about. If it changed in the NIV Hebrew to Aramaic, and they use the Nestle Aland and the Tischendorf and the Westcott Hort, you have to wonder where they got that from. Where would be the first place it shows up? So we can go through all different ones, and I'm trying to think of an earlier one. It could have even been from the 1901 or the 1904 New Testament that was written, and that might have had a change in it. So we can look that up as well. Let's go. Now, this is what's called the 20th century New Testament. This was written. It says, anyways, it's translated into modern English, made from the original Greek. That always cracks me up. Westcott and Hort's text by a company of about 20 scholars. Yeah, that could be from the different committees. You got two committees. You have the American committee, and you have the English committee over there. With Westcott, and you have the other one run by Philip Schaff. I was looking for my my binders. I have binders everywhere somewhere. I have another one somewhere. But anyways, all right, John. Let's go to John in this 1904. Let's see if it actually changes in this particular edition. And this was written by a woman and some dude claiming to be using the Westcott as a foundation. But when I looked at it, and I still got to add it to my list, they weren't 100% following it. They were, again, adding their own, which is what I find interesting. After 1881, everything starts changing. Everything is different. Everything is just a hodgepodge. We change a word there, change a word here, just move all over the place. I didn't think we would be talking about text tonight. I don't usually get into that on the live stream. Verse 20. Yeah, in 1904, this would still have Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. So now, and if they're using Westcott and Hort, then what are they using? They claim to use Westcott and Hort. That's the foundation of this particular text, the 20th century New Testament. But that matches that. Now, if the NIV is using Westcott and Hort and Tischendorf and Nestle-Aland, it's possible that's when Nestle-Aland's then changed it. But then we'd have to look up their other versions, Nestle-Aland. I didn't have my Bibles all ready to go tonight, guys. Let's look at some earlier ones. I'm trying to think of, this was 1904. Trying to go back a little ways. How about New English Bible in 1970? No, that's not it. Hold on a second. I lost it. All right. We can look at the New English. What verse are we talking about? I got an ASV I can look at. All right. We're not John 19:20. We're looking at the fact that Brother Bryson was bringing up the point that Hebrew has been changed to Aramaic in the NIV. So I'm going through my paper copies right now. So we know it's not in the original. It's still Hebrew in the 1885 Westcott and Hort RV, which I have. And then we just went through a 1904 version of 20th century New Testament, and it's not changed there. So now it's almost like a treasure hunt to see where, although these modern Bibles don't give the right type of treasure, I can tell you that right now. So now I'm looking at the New English Bible. So, Brother Bryson, you got to slow down, man. We can't catch up. You're on fire. You got some good stuff here. All right. 19 verse 20. I'm finding it now. So in this particular one, all right. So in 1970, I think this is the 1970 New England. I want to make sure I got the right date. Oh, no, this is 1961. So this is a 1961 New English Bible. I'm trying to find the date so I can show it to you. Yeah, 1961, so you can see. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up very well. I don't have one of those cool high-def ones, but it's 1961. Should I get closer? I don't know. I can't. I got to get me a better camera. It's an old book, 1961. So it still has Hebrew in here. So it hasn't changed it to Aramaic in this particular. So now we have to ask, where did they get it from? See, this is what I was talking about before about how they all changed. All right. So the 1901 ASV said, you have a 1901? That's awesome. So in honor of you, I was gonna pull it out, the ASV, and what I do with it, there's a Schofield up there, the 1901 ASV, because I keep on telling you I have it. Hold on one second. Live on the air. We never know what's going on. We're all over the place, guys. Talk amongst yourself. I don't have it. All right, here we go. All right. Yeah, so this is the copy I have of the 1901. You can see that thing has seen some adventures, hasn't it? Look at that, just like so. American Standard version, the 1901. So I don't usually pull it out of its the case over there. It's I have it in a book there, so it doesn't get completely ruined. I might replace the leather because I like having the first copy. So when you're having conversations with people, you have a paper copy in front of you, which is important to have. So again, I love having paper copy. I'm not somebody misunderstood me when I'm saying that nobody should ever use computers and the apps online. I'm just saying be wary of what you're looking at because it may not match all the copies. All right, so that means Brother Colin still has it in Hebrew. So now the NIV has to have been using Tischendorf. Now they could have used Tregelles. I don't know. They don't claim to use Tregelles, but they could be using Tregelles or Lockman or anybody like that. So if that doesn't match these texts of Westcott and Hort in 1901, we know that we're not 1961. We know has now changed. Oh, I skipped one. Hold on 1 second. I always thought the Ascended Christ speaking Hebrew was quite yes. I just Bible Hub John 19:20. NIV, ESV do change it. Wow. Right. So now I'll ask you this. Does the NIV match? Hold on. What do we got here? Second edition NASB New Testament says Hebrew, Latin, and Greek with a footnote saying, i.e., Jewish Aramaic. That is the NASB. I'm going to have like a 12-foot mountain here in about 5 minutes with all the Bibles here. All right, we'll put this one over here. We'll put those there. We'll keep our King James here. That's the most important one, so we'll keep that there. All right, so we got the New American Standard Bible here. I'm going to look in the paper copy. This is probably pretty early on. 1973. It's got from the Lockman Foundation. I'm sure some of y'all know who that is. All right. This is a 1973 copy. I wish it was a first year because I like having the very first ones so you can see the difference. All right. So I'm going to go to the paper copy. Brother Forever shall stand forever. You said it changes in there also, right? You said the NIV. Who am I talking about here? Brother Colin. NASB, New Testament says Hebrew, Latin, Greek with a footnote. All right. Let's go to. Are you on the internet, Brother Colin? Are you looking at like Bible Hub or something like that, or are you looking at paper copy? The reason I ask because it'd be interesting to see what it says on the internet version. So 1920, and it says here same thing. Therefore, this inscription many of the Jews read for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. Yes, and the footnote says, i.e., Jewish Aramaic, John 19:13. Awesome. You got a paper copy in front of you. That's awesome. You got one. That's very cool. That's very cool. You have that one. All right. So we've looked at a 1961. We see it's not there. We've looked at and this is what I'm talking about with modern Bibles. You say you're following a Greek text, right? You're following Westcott and Hort, or that's what you say, and Nestle Aland, which is based off the Westcott and Hort, but yet your texts don't all match the same. So NIV at some point went rogue warrior. So now it probably, in my opinion, has to have gone into Tischendorf because NASB is obviously following Westcott and Hort, and it's also a Catholic Bible. I don't think this one says Catholic Bible on it. One of them I have on there. Just like the New American Bible also is a Catholic. It says Hey, let's look at Catholic Bible. Let's see what we get. What's this down here? Oh, that's a Septuagint. Oh, no, that's all right. Here's a St. Joseph Catholic Bible. This is from 1962, right? So, yeah, that's the only year I see, 1962. Somebody's go, why do you have Catholic Bibles? You're not Catholic. Again, when we do research, man. All right, let's get to John. Let's move my NASB out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. The funny thing is that Hebrew is not Jewish. I understand. It's like saying Latin is really Roman Greek. These scholars are very stupid in many ways. They are educated out of their senses. Now, I'm going to push back. I don't think they're all stupid. I think they know what they're doing. This is not like, oh, they deciphered it wrong. No, they purposely decipher things wrong sometimes. I really believe that. I truly, truly believe that. All right, verse 20. And in this particular Catholic book, it does have Hebrew and Greek and in Latin. So this St. Joseph's Catholic Bible has that. Now, the Challoner Reims might be different. That was in 1959. That might be different. That's up there as well. So now, where did NIV get that? Where did they change it? So what are they using? Are they using one of the UBSs, which still matches Nestle and Lon? They could be, but they're not using obviously the text that King James Bible uses. Isn't it amazing how that works out sometimes? So I'll hand it to some of the Bibles that stuck to it, and I'm thinking, where could it have changed? Because in 1976 it changes, correct? Now we read it. Where's my NIV? Hold on. Is that it? So in 1976, we're going to go back to this. It says Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. So we know in 1976 it gets changed. I actually didn't know John Calvin said that. I think the first person that said Hebrew was really Chaldee. Are you talking to the Chaldeans? Chaldeans. Yea, hath God said. What was John Calvin? I won't disagree with you. I don't know. I have never heard of it. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying I've never heard of it. So you could be very accurate in saying that. I got this. Oh, how about this? This will be fun. How about this Jewish New Testament, which uses this actually, I believe, uses the UBS. So let's see if it matches, because I believe this uses the Jewish New Testament was written. The copy I have, anyways, is 1989. Wait, is this a first edition? It says first edition. Oh, all right. So I'll have to see that. It says, if the camera is terrible, I'm sorry. If it's all blurry, I apologize. I wasn't expecting to have things up there, so it's probably all blurry. But 1989 first edition, it looks like. All right. Now let's find John in here. So we know they used the third edition. I'm pretty sure they're using the third edition UBS. Correct me if I'm wrong on the dates on that. When the UBS, in 1989, what UBS would they be using? Because I don't think we're up to the fifth one at that point yet. I don't know. I never read it, but I heard that he said in his commentaries, it would not shock me if he did, because he believed in replacement theology. I don't, by the way, just get that off. I don't believe in replacement theology. I see no, obviously, reason to. All right, 19, let's see, verse 20. All right, it reads, so this is the Jewish New Testament. Reads, many of the Judeans read this notice because the place where Yeshua was put on the stake was close to the city, and it had been written in Hebrew, in Latin, and in Greek. So the new, this one has the. All right, Brother Collins got the Net Bible. So I looked at the Net Bible online, and it has a footnote saying Greek and Hebrew. I'm going to assume GRK is Greek and Hebrew. So are they saying the Greek text says Hebrew? Why in the world would they put Aramaic? Well, because they're reading different things. Hold on. All right. This would be a paper copy of the Net Bible. You just said the Net Bible. So I have that here. So let's open up the Net Bible. I think I have more Bibles than I even realize I have. I knew I had a lot of Bibles. I just didn't know. I really didn't know I had that many. And I'm still buying them. Let's see. Hey, fun story. Did you know pizza was not even famous here in America until the 1950s? Because the GIs overseas loved the pizza in Italy so much, they started going to the pizza joints in like little Italian neighborhoods because it wasn't even a big thing. So I thought that was an interesting. I know that's off topic, but sometimes we have those little weird information. All right, I'm getting to John here. Getting to John. 1920. This one has a lot of footnotes in it. My goodness. What this book? Let's see. What is this called? Is it a commentary? The Net Bible, first beta edition with. Oh my goodness! Look at this. Check this out. If you can read it, I don't know if you can read it. I'll read it for you. With 57,875 translators' notes. Wonder why it's so confusing. Whew. Boy, they couldn't make that more complicated. All right. 1920. I never even noticed the side of that before and read that. I'm trying to find out where the commentaries end and the actual verses are. All right. Thus, many of the Jewish residents of Jerusalem read this notice because the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the choice was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. Now, you said there was a footnote, so let's see if we find to see those. Oh, I can't read these footnotes; they're all over the map here. There's a thought. Wow. Well, now you know when I say it seems like there's 1,000 footnotes. Yeah, there's 1,000 because there's 57,000 in this whole book. To see who it was. Wait, what does yours say, Calvin? Not Calvin, I'm sorry. Colvin, brother Colin. Yikes. So I looked in that Bible, what Greek, are they saying, does it say in your footnotes online? Because yours says Greek and Hebrew. This one says Greek to see whose it will be. It doesn't say Greek to Hebrew in the paper copy. There you go. See, this is what we talked about. Some things just don't. One of the books just slid over. See how that's another where online doesn't match the paper copy sometimes. But who would know because you can't read any of this stuff. There's 1,000 things going on here. I was looking at the next page over to see if there's a verse 20 footnote there, but I'm not seeing one that that refers to another. Okay, so now there you go. We got another one. We have so we know the NET and the NIV. So I'm guessing anything that starts with an N has Aramaic. I just figured out recently that on my father's side, I have Italian and Greek ancestry. Cool. My wife's actually Italian. She has Italian. In fact, I have her father's Italian Bible somewhere. I can't find it, but I do have his Bible somewhere. He had an Italian Bible, and I have that here. What better safe place to keep her Bible than on the bookshelf with everything else I got? Hey, brother. Present. I have a tardy slip. That's hilarious. Yeah, I didn't see you over Nick's live stream today. You missed it. Brother Bryson went over to Nick's channel. We were talking, then I pulled up Nick's channel and saw him asking a question. And the great thing about it was Nick was very direct, answered the question with no fluff, no extra stuff, because a lot of people get into a whole different area. He just answered the question very simply. But it is good to see you, Brother Calvin. We're just going over the different verses that we're finding and we're talking about. We go in all different directions here. You know that. But where with the Net Bible? Yeah, so I do have my my father-in-law's Italian one. My father's paternal grandma only spoke Greek, and she immigrated to the U.S. So this woman's not a grandma. Well, the woman might be a grandma that I'm about to refer to. Yeah, they're just saying it translates that way. You can reverse translate anything. I did that with one of the Latin texts. If you go to some of the Latin and you reverse translate it, I don't know how to say it any differently. So if you take the Latin and translate it to the Greek or translate the Hebrew and then into the English to get what it is. And one of the ones that I back translated, the Latin didn't match what the Catholic was saying. When you reversed it to the languages, it ended up matching the King James Bible, but it said something different. Weird. One of the words were different. So talking about Greek, there was a woman that I worked with, and I asked her, and she's Greek. So I asked her a simple question. She used to work at a Salvation Army. And this is going back some years, and I was running a dock there. I used to run the dock, and So I asked her, I says, hey, I says, if you don't mind me asking, is there different Greeks, like different languages in Greek? Because I hear all types of things. And she said to me, she is Greek. I used to hear her on the phone talking in Greek. If you hear someone talk Greek, I don't know how to imitate a Greek person, but Greek when you hear Greek, you just tell, And she was saying there's different Greek, there's different languages. And she said the Greek now today is not exactly the same as back then. So Greek has changed over the years in certain dialects. Like England has like different, not only does it have different accents, but it's got different dialects and stuff like that. I'm not an expert in obviously in linguistics and things like that, but I found it very interesting because some people say the original, and she'll tell you nobody speaks original Greek. It's different now than it was different then. And I tend to trust a Greek person. So you should ask your father sometime what he feels about that, if he has about the Greek language and if he's ever heard of it changing over the years. My family has been in the USA since before it was even USA, 1620 or so. Nice. Mine has not. Mine got here in the 1900s. I forgot what year it is, but I know on my mother's side, because my mother is actually Finnish. My father's French. My mother's Finnish, and they were escaping persecution. I forget what year, but Russia was coming into Finland and basically, wiping out people, basically trying to take over. So they were fleeing being killed. So when people tell me, about white races, I'm white and I've had slaves, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you have no idea on my mother's side that they escaped from being murdered. So whatever. And my father is the first one born here. So he was born in 1944, 1944. So he was born here. So he's the first one here. So it wasn't till then. And my same thing with my mother. My mother is the first one born here. So it is. I'm Gen 1. You're the first one, huh? You're the first one here. So your dad's from the old country. That's pretty cool. I skipped over this one here. Sorry about that, Bryson. The Greek situation is similar to the Syriac situation, Hebrew. Yeah. So this is my point. Sometimes I know we're talking about Koine Greek and stuff like that, and that's why I get annoyed. I'm like, okay, we get into the field of which Greek. I mean, we'll start getting all this nonsense. If you don't believe in the King James Bible and you need to go to the Greek to to explain your King James Bible, I don't know what to tell you, because if you're born again and saved, I believe you're good. You got what you got. And now, if you want to do it just for fun, that's fine. But I find that we study more about different languages than we do studying the Bible itself. And I think I can say that I've been guilty at times as well as that. But I think we're more scholarly oriented now than we ever have been, because we didn't rely on scholars before. Even in 1970s, we relied on what? The pastor, the preacher. They got their education probably from scholars and things like that, but that's where we go. Now we're searching out all the scholars we can. And I'm thinking, why? Now, I don't mind it, I'm not saying one should never read a commentary or something. I think, I have like three small ones from J. Vernon McGee. I think he was an evangelical. Um, like I said, I got a couple of them from Ruckman, nothing from Gipp, the one from Riplinger. I think that's all the commentaries I have. Um, yeah, that's the only ones I got. A lot of the first settlers were indentured servants. It's how they even afforded to get over here in the first place. They'd sell themselves to the shipping companies for a time to pay their fare. Yeah. So I think, okay, I have my complaints about the whole slave to servant, same thing. Not really. Yes, but no. I mean, in a modern, weird way, we are we are slaves to the government. We're slaves to our jobs. We're slaves to because they they profit off of us, right? They put us in a situation where we need to do those things to survive. Um, but people were got a time frame. They had to work for 5 years or 7 years to pay off their bill to be here. Now, slaves don't get that right. Slaves are slaves as long as someone has them. Yes, people can treat servants like slaves. Rarely has Greek or Hebrew ever added anything to a message sermon that I know of. Yeah, I have never been in a church building at all, except the like I said, last two would mention Greek, and it. What was the point? The Greek. So the Greek word for the Greek word for Nazareth. I'm just looking at the Bible here. I'm like looking around, and I would tap my wife sometimes. I'm like, what do I care? Why do I care the Greek word for Nazareth? What it's Nazareth. It's right here in English. Well, it creates confusion, and I think it creates negativity. I think it creates doubt among people. Um, any idea how much was the amount? Oh, that must be over to brother Colin. The KJV is very clear and easy to read. The same could be said for the original languages Bible, but the fact is, it is archaic. Hebrew, Syriac, Greek. Yeah, we get into all that stuff. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I want to argue this point here. The Jews did not revise the Hebrew and Syriac, and the Greeks did not revise the Greek. Why should we revise English? Oh, why should we revise English? Okay, I'm fine with that. But I will say that's actually not true, because I've read some stuff and I've seen some rabbis say that it once said some rabbis thought it was this, but it actually says this. So they're doing the same thing over there. I've been wanting to just go to somewhere if I could find a rabbi and just ask them a couple of questions from their point of view. I would obviously disagree because we don't have anything in common at all. Although they believe that Jesus was the Messiah, and I agree, Jesus was the Messiah. But after that, there's all. But anyways, I don't want to. But yeah, I think I really believe it's my heart. King James Bible is the last one that we need, and with all due respect to guys like brother Nick who has done it, and I keep on forgetting to order it, like to order his King James Bible, because I order a lot of things to read, but it could be me. I don't know how. I never expected to have this many people ever on my channel. I never, but I don't know. Maybe it's something I'm doing wrong on the live stream. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't pay for the big time live stream, which I probably should. Yeah. Well, hold on. I tried going to a synagogue on a family trip, but I forgot it was Sunday. That's pretty good. I like that. I don't know if you meant that as a joke, but I still thought it was a good one. Jews say Jesus was Messiah? Yes, some do. No, it's me. Okay. Like I said, eventually, when I try to get technologically advanced, I'm going to try to put on a situation where people can come on and talk. I never created this channel wanting. So this is where I'm going to disagree with Brother George. He made a comment, and I would disagree when he says pretty much all of us do. We all, anyone, so Brother George says those who have channels want subscribers. That's why they're here. They want people to watch their channels and stuff like that. And I'm paraphrasing, but I didn't make this channel to try to get subscribers. For me, I made this channel just to speak what I believe in truth, and some may believe it and some may disagree. I don't know, but I have no skin in the game, as they say. All right, well, it is a true story. I don't know which one that was. Well, that was a reference to. Oh, the synagogue. All right, it was a true story. Okay, that's awesome. I mean, I'd go in there. Me and brother Jorge has known me the longest here. He knows. I'd go into a synagogue and I'd believe gospel tracts. I'd do it in a heartbeat. At Anchor David, Revolution recommended you. Yeah, somebody told me that, and then somebody knew. I saw that it was done, and I never get to respond to it. And somebody said something, and I was really astounded by that. I was incredibly grateful. Because I do like Brother Nick's stuff. I think, I think brother Calvin, Brother Shell Stan. Do you watch Nick's channel? Because I don't know where you came from. I don't know if you came from George's channel or Nick's channel, because it's the only two places I think I would ever be on, or I'm beyond go on chat forums. I've been on the live stream with George twice, I think. Yeah, I think twice. Now I lost my train of thought, but I find myself when I do the Westcott Hort stuff and the King James 1611 to now comparison of scriptures, I feel like I'm the appetizer. You know, I give you the easy stuff. You know, good stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. And then Nick is the 4-course meal that goes 5 hours long. He's the 4-course meal that really gets into it. He does an amazing job. I can't do what Brother Nick does. I think he does a phenomenal job of what he does. So I'm thankful for his channel and what he does. Maybe there's, like I said, a couple times I've been, I may have disagreed on, personally, I've never put it in the chat. I'm like, I don't know that I agree with that. But overall, I think Brother Nick brings some valuable stuff that I think is really cool stuff. If you're into that stuff, I think it's cool. I really do. I don't want to skip over. So, but thank you, Brother David, for coming here and popping in. I appreciate your time. I really do. True and funny story. Try hitting the at then the first. Okay, hold on. Wow. I figured Jews would say he was a man, a prophet, devil possessed, not the Messiah. Well, they were expecting the Messiah. According to the internet, was half full. Oh, okay. 3 times. Okay. I was just on there the other day. I don't know if you happen to see that I was on there the other day. I was on there briefly trying to defend the King James, I guess. I think I was expressing my disappointment in or the lack of exhortation. And there's Calvin, you weren't here earlier, but I was talking about the difference between Brother Nick, his chats, and Brother George's chats are far different, vastly different. And Brother Nick's, I've seen a couple of negative things before, just, a couple, nothing major, but it's mostly people with maturity. There's some disagreements like, well, I kind of disagree on that. But it's all done respectfully, and that's the way it should be done. And I'm thankful that whoever's been on here for 90% of the time, 95% of the time, has always been respectful. But on Brother George's channel, it seems to be more negativity in the chats and more attacking. And I'm disappointed in things like that. It's unfortunate that there's that much anger going on around there. I never saw a synagogue in person before that trip. I was so bummed. I wanted to say Jesus is your Messiah to them. That'd have been cool, man. I'm all on board for that. I'd do it. I'd be in there with the Bible. I'd leave a couple King James Bibles down, like KJV, which I have to remember to bring a King James Bible to work on Monday and a John of Romans. I was talking about bummed. I was bummed I didn't have any of them in my truck because I have a different truck now. I gave my old truck to my son, and I have another truck. It's newer, but it's still almost 10 years old. I don't need a brand new truck. So, because he was asking me questions and stuff like that. So he said he was going to text me on Sunday to remind me to bring in the Bible to him on Monday. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited about that. I think that's just phenomenal. I couldn't be any more happier. Only you, brother, would ask that question to him. Was that in paper, fiat, or silver? Yikes. But yeah, like I said, I'm just it saddens me, and I'm expecting it, and I know it's happening, and I know it's gonna happen that we have people like this out there, and it saddens me to see people call themselves brothers in Christ and so argue so vehemently and with a lot of anger, and it seems like animosity and vitriol and just attacking, and it's really disappointing. It is really disappointing because we should be trying to help one another, and even if we disagree on something, I mean, it depends on what it is. I mean, if you don't believe in the resurrection, I think you and I are way off from each other, so we can't do that. Um, so, oh, oh, hold on, I skipped over one. Of course, now the internet is saying it was several years' wages, often length of. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I said five. I think I said 5 to 7. Um, That's what I remember back, and when I studied things like that. I have, by the way. I found this like cool little. It was in my my stuff. The Pilgrim's Story. This is an old printed, self-printed one. I don't know where it came from, where I bought this. I never know where I pick up these things. Um, it was first written in 1940. Okay, and it's a booklet about that. So, um, I found Revolution when he visited Truth Christ channel. I may have seen him there. That's maybe where I came across him. I thought he came up in my feed one day, and so I just checked it out. Is Truth Christ? That's the guy who does the numbers and stuff like that, and he found 777 words or something. I haven't really watched some of his stuff, but what I thought was interesting is one of the guys on his channel is the guy who's created that other channel with he was doing a cartoons or something, KJV animations or something like that, which I thought was neat. I showed my kids a couple of those. I thought that were neat. I am trying to give a Bible to a Roman Catholic at school. I hope it works, buddy. I never see him around school anymore. We don't have the same classes. I am starting to think he moved. You drove him out of town. You drove him out of town, buddy. Yeah, Roman Catholics are tough, man. They are tough. They are a tough nut to crack. I tell you what. It's conversations you can have. You know, it's weird. I miss the day of buying the world a Coke and live in a perfect harmony. Wow, what a reference to that commercial. I'm just curious to know what the value was of a year's wage. I guess it sounds like they paid in labor. Yeah, I would think that's exactly what they did. For instance, in 1955, a large pizza cost $1.50. Just saying. I have interesting, useless information in my head. Yes, 777. Yeah, that's who okay. You know what? Yeah, I might be subscribed to him, I think. I'm not even sure. I haven't watched any of his stuff in a while. I try to watch different things. I try to catch. Oh, who? I can't remember who here recommended Jeff Riddle to me. Somebody confessed to me who told me Jeff Riddle. I can't remember who told me to listen to Jeff Riddle. It is funny. The first day I moved to my high school, I met a kid that was a son of a Freemason and a Catholic kid. I'm trying to find this video, and I don't know where it came up on my feed, and I clicked on it. It was a government film in 1944, sponsored by the government. And there's a guy standing on a podium talking about black people. Oh, we don't need these Negroes. YouTube, please don't, ban me. I wasn't using it as a derogatory. It was a government film. It was saying these Negroes, they're taking our jobs, and it goes, we don't need people like here in America, and Freemasons and Catholics. And I thought that is interesting. And then, so it wasn't a government film saying that. So anyway, this Jewish guy turns the other guy, says to him, he goes, I've heard this kind of talk before. And he had German accent. It wasn't too long ago. And he goes, and the Freemason guy says, well, he goes, I understand some people. And then when the guy said Freemasons, wait, that's me. I'm a Freemason. So the government was telling that you in that video that the people being persecuted were Freemasons, Catholics, and Negroes, black people. I found that very interesting. Very, very interesting. The Freemason kid and Catholic kid were friends. Okay, there you go. Half my family is Catholic. It's like talking to a brick wall. Yeah, it's like a lefty, really. I think it was that Shall Stand Forever and myself speaking about a comment he left at Jeff Riddle's channel, World Magazine. Okay. So I did watch two things from him. I was able to, because if somebody recommends something, I want to be a man of my word and try to watch it or check into it. And I try the best I can. So I did watch two videos of him. One was I can't even remember what it was about, to be honest with you. The second one was something he just put out about the TR or the Nessalon or the two different versions. And what did he say? I can't remember the title of it. It was pretty decent though. He had a good point. Oh, I was watching him being interviewed about being what is a Reformed Baptist or something like that. And I watched that for probably I'd say a half hour, something like that, and then I was done after that. I did see the eye roll from James White though on so that's three things I watched. James White eye rolled from Jeff Riddle, something about Jeff Riddle, so I saw that. So Jeff White is such a child, such an impetulant little child. But I did watch that. The other one was I think it was a Nelson something or other. I can't remember, and I gotta look into that. There's another one that I think brother Shall Stand said, and I can't remember. I know you told me to check out David Cloud, Calvin, and I listened a little bit of him, and I still haven't gotten back to listen to him. I think brother Nick doesn't like David Cloud, so I don't really know anything about David Cloud. Again, I became, like I said, I went through this whole journey, this whole King James Bible, being a King James onlyist, getting to all the scriptures and verse changes before I went onto the internet and found all these things and going on out there that I didn't know about. Coming from a man that had a father that was a paid Mason, he worked with stone. I thought Freemasons were Freemasons working for free at first. That's funny. That was definitely funny. Hey, Revolution did a Truth Christ video 4 months ago about the Granville Rule. You know, it just dawned on me about the Granville Rule, and I was trying to pinpoint that. And where's my binder? I was looking through my binders. I was looking through some information. Oh, they're right here. So I think one of them are here. Forgive me. I've got books. I've got books, papers, binders everywhere. I'm starting to be one of those eccentric people who have like stuff everywhere. I think it's the binder. Some of the information's in here. What's this way? Funny enough, they're lefty Catholics, also progressive Episcopalians. The other half is conservative, charismatic, TBN kind of Christianity. I don't know what's more dangerous, TBN or Catholicism. So I was really looking at some stuff, and I wanted to bring it to Nick's attention at some point, brother Nick, to get his opinion on it. This is the this is the English New Testament Revision Company, ERV 1878. You know, the different scholars involved and stuff like that. And I'm trying to figure out. So there's a name, and now I wrote it down somewhere, and I realized the moment when things changed, and it changed over with the Granville Rule and who was behind that. It wasn't just Granville. There's another person who really influenced that person. And I was just, connecting the dots kind of thing, just doing some research. And when I came across something, then I followed that breadcrumb, so to speak. And now I don't know. I wrote it down somewhere, and now it's bothering me. But that is exactly how we got into where we are with the 1881 and going all through that. That's how we got there. When that was introduced and into the colleges, at Trinity College. It was in Trinity College in England. is where it got introduced into, but it came through another schooling, which was I don't think it was Groton. I think it was a different school, and I can't remember what it was. So I apologize. I thought I had it top of my head, but interesting stuff. But Bryson, your dad's hand must be tough though. The Granville Sharp rule over Truth Christ was very good. Nick showed that the rule was in effect before it was named such. Yeah, that's what I found. So that's exactly what happened. I'm trying to think of the guy. It's not Thomas Morton. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Boy, this is gonna bug me. Hold on a second. Wordsworth. So you have Charles Wordsworth, who had a brother who was involved, but the father of him, and then it goes back a little bit, and that's where the idea of it came into place, and then the grand rule happened. So if I follow the breadcrumbs of Charles Wordsworth, that's where I come up with that. So I just follow the breadcrumbs on him. I got the right one here. Let's see, Charles Wordsworth. That's Hort. Let's see, Lightfoot. A lot of biographies in here that I put together, and bullet point type stuff. Bickerstaff, Wordsworth. That was 18. He lived from 1806 to 1892. Okay, he was at Christ Church, and I got into Trinity Church. But where's the information? Williamsworth. That was his brother. His brother was Christopher Wordsworth. It looks like. I thought that was his father as well. I believe his father was also named Christopher Wordsworth Jr. So you follow that trail, and that's where I see the influence of the Granville Rule. So I'm interesting. I want to finish mine, and I'm going to watch that. If you can link it to me, or no, you can't link. You have to be a moderator. So one of these, I'll just look it up at some point, the video, because I know Truth Christ channel. I think you just go on a channel and type in a name, and it'll pull up a video. So that's what I'll end up doing when I'm done following this breadcrumb. I want to see if I get to that same spot where Brother Nick got to. Not that I don't, that I would, that I don't think he did a good job or got there. I'm just that type of guy. I like doing that. So that's what I mean by that is when I got to where I am, it wasn't based off of any commentary. It wasn't based off of, I didn't become King James. And some of you have heard me say this. I didn't become King James because of Peter Ruckman or the Sam Gibson, the D.A. Whites, and Gail Ripplinger. Actually, I would get nowhere from a woman. I don't listen to women. I know that's going to sound negative, but I don't listen to women preachers and pastors and stuff like this. Oh, hold on. What's this? Oh, that's that. Yes, sir. It's a tough trade. Hold on. On his channel, Tap Video, it's 4 months. On Nick's channel, because obviously I subscribe to Nick, so I can type. I can click on Nick's channel. I'm just gonna pull this here. Now remember, I'm not technologically advanced there. I'm gonna pull up. Let's see here. So Truth in Crisis channel. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me go down and see if I actually still have them here. I subscribe to some. Does anybody know who 70 by 7 KJV is? I subscribe to them, and they got some pretty cool quotes that they leave out there. Brother Calvin, you're there. Truth is Christ. Okay. Let me look at videos. Now I'm not talking because I'm sitting here trying to look up the video. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to. Apparently David Daniels has been on there before. Like I said, I don't get to watch a lot of these stuff. I just. Yeah, he's Brother Bryson. He's a This guy's good. He knows what he's doing. He's pretty talented in the work he does. I've seen some of his pictures of his work that he does. He does a great job. He's awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and type in. Maybe I can just type in Granville rule. Let's see if I type in. Oh no, you gotta click on the channel first. Hold on. In the channel, right? Hit the search button. Granville Sharp rule. All right. Oh, I see Nick's face. I'm just gonna share this real quick. I'm gonna say that's the video right there. Granville Sharp rule is the KJV wrong about Jesus and Titus 2:13. All right. That's a 44-minute long video. I'm gonna save to watch later. All right. So I put it on my watch list. That way I know it's there. And I will definitely watch. Oh, the DD of Christ, of course. It's what do you think gets changed all the time? All right. Remove that. There we go. And I'll limit that. So I will definitely. Yeah, I know. I am HVAC class right now. Hey. So I'm gonna have you come down here. You know, it's funny. I was gonna talk to you, brother Jorge, about that. Okay, we're going off topic here. I know. As most of you know, I have a shed here. It's about what? I don't remember the dimensions of this thing. I think it's what, like, I'm gonna have to say about 20 feet that way, 20 feet, like 12 feet by 20 feet, something like that. Shed that I've been trying to turn into basically a podcast area, and a little at a time. And I was running a small propane heater in here for the winter. Then I decided to get this electric heater, which works well. But then it dawned on me to get those mini splits once I get everything in. Now I got this back wall up behind me. I got some fake walls. I got to get all that done. And then once I get everything in, I'm thinking about putting a mini split. But they look like they're kind of expensive, but they might be good for the winter time out here and give me some heat. And then in the summertime, it's Tennessee, so Tennessee can be hot sometimes. I know some of y'all live in a little more southern places where it gets real hot, but I thought these mini split would be a pretty good idea, but they can be pricey. So you'll have to give me your thoughts on that at some point. But that video I am going to watch when I can. But I want to finish where I was going with this. I got a label on the side and I never labeled it. This particular binder is the New Testament Revision Company, or the ERE, and then this one here is the American Committee. That was a cooperating body, so I have those that I had put together. So I'm gonna follow those bread trails until I get to where I'm going. We'll see that Germany has always played a major part in this too, which is really interesting. So Rome came through Germany into England. It's a weird way of getting there on this particular, the newer stuff, but that's where I've gone with it. Well, like I said, I'm the appetizer. If you want a good light stuff on my channel to get into the stuff, and then you go to Brother Nick and he'll fill you up with a lot of stuff. So definitely go over there. Yes and no. I've heard of them. The only name I can remember I seen over there is a guy named Phil Stringer. I watched a little bit of a video. It's like some sort of conference or something. I watched for about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes and I was done. And then I saw that they had some sort of KJV podcast and I listened to it, to them. They were like 10, 15 minutes long. And I was like, but I'm sure they got better stuff. I just haven't really looked at them. They make heat only and hybrids that will also cool. They sell them pre-charged with their refrigerant. I don't know too much about them, but I'm not really seeing anything else. Just mini splits down. Okay. Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure it's Phil Stringer or something like that. Yes. That's David Daniels. So I've watched, I've seen some of his stuff. After I was really into a lot of my research and getting through a lot of different stuff, is when I decided to watch other people, because I'm one of those guys who doesn't want to be influenced by somebody else's stuff. And doesn't mean that they're not right or anything. I just don't want to be, when I go into something, I want nothing presupposed. I don't want any of that. I just go right in. And then when you look at things after the fact, you're like, well, that lines up, that lines up, that lines up. So I think David Daniels does a fine job. We obviously we buy Chick tracks. We order up Chick tracks and we put those in in our bags. These are the so what we do is we have these the door hangers, I guess you can say, but we put them in mailboxes, not on the mailboxes, even though supposedly it's a federal crime to put them in the mailbox or even on the mailbox. But I'm thinking I'm more concerned about them going to hell than I am about the federal government getting mad at me. So I don't worry about that. So that's what we put in there. And that's we just do the best we can. I remember I had a give send go briefly for anybody who wanted to donate to help out and buy all these Bibles and different stuff. And then I got rid of it. Someone was very generous, gave me $50 on there one time, and I was very thankful for that. But I felt guilty for asking money, but I don't know. I think it's something I might think about again. Because I make money, I go to work, so I don't have a problem there. But I have this dream of getting Bibles and gospel tracts into every mailbox that I come across. You know what I mean? On every windshield, it would be nice. That's the goal one day. Funny thing was, that's for our brother Jorge. That statement. But no, I do like David Daniels. I think he's got decent stuff. I don't have a problem there. But am I right on the other one? Is Phil Stringer the one on the King James Research Council? Is that the name that's associated? I'm pretty sure that's the one I'm thinking of. But again, I haven't watched too much, so I don't get to see a lot of these people. I'm so buried in doing the research on my own that I don't really watch other people. It's in the last, I would say in the last year maybe, that I've really watched more stuff from other people. Sometimes I'll type in something, I'll come up with something, or the one thing you'll find a lot of is a lot of hate against anybody who believes the King James Bible is actually the best Bible. You know, but I will order at some point Brother Nick's book, or not his book, when he did the King James Bible, because I know how much time something takes. Because I know for me, I wrote 3 books, and it takes a lot of effort to put into them and a lot of time into it. So I'll definitely order it, because I understand the time invested. So yeah, he is one of them. Oh, Phil Stringer is one of them. Okay, yeah. So again, you guys can tell me. I mean, is it worth the time? I mean, are these guys kind of like the pretend King James Bible guys? I honestly don't know. I don't. I get myself so immersed in my own studies that I don't know a lot. Like I said earlier about Peter Ruckman, I just learned about him a couple of years ago. 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. When did I first learn of him? Oh, I learned about him through another channel that I came across. That was King James. My wife told me about it. He goes, "Hey, there's this guy who's like King James, and he's always so always doing King James channels and stuff." So I went, all right. So I checked him out, and my first impression of the guy was, I don't know. And then I started watching some stuff he did on Roman Catholicism. I said, "Well, wow, he did an excellent job." I'll just be honest who it is, because people may have heard of this guy. I don't know, but hold on. The person is I think he goes by the name Born Again Barbarian. I watched a little bit of him a while back, and then I just didn't see it again because she just told me about it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't watch him again. And then years later, I watched him again, and whatever. Yeah, I don't mess around with that stuff. Sorry, I have Nick's 2023 in PDF form, but haven't had time to thoroughly research the changes yet. Yeah, I'll order the. You can tell me how much the PDF form is. I'll order it. I'll order the paper copy. I'm gonna do it. I'll get around to it. I'm gonna do it. I'm guessing it's on Amazon because that's where my books are. So if mine are on Amazon, I've made about like nothing from my books, and that's okay. And I've got a couple more that I'm going to be writing or working on actually. So I'll get that done. But I don't write them for the money either. I just write them because it's what I believe in. I think it's information that should be put out there. Some of it I might just put them in mailboxes, and I won't even have on Amazon. Yeah, we recently tried to. Oh, sorry, that was the game one. So no, I will. This is where I would probably disagree with Brother Nick. I don't think we need another King James version. I don't. I'm happy with what we got. I don't think it's complicated. If you look at my 1611 to 2025 videos, when I compare them, it's not hard. My kids, they're 13 and 11, they can read the 1611 because a lot of it was just pronunciation. It was just words. It was phonetics. And it was not a big deal. You could understand it. If you dropped somebody in that time frame, you would know how to read it. So I don't, and even today's King James Bible, I don't think it's complicated. How hard is it to tell someone the word account is account, and that's all it is? If a preacher or pastor can take the time to tell you what a Greek word is, they can take the time to tell you what that word is that you may not know in the Bible, but they never do. Any thoughts on the KJV version? Revolution says he will make video about it. About his? So I haven't read it because I haven't ordered it yet. So now I'm under the gun. Now I'm under pressure. Now I feel peer pressure now, man. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna order it up. I'm definitely gonna order up. Nick did kind of slip my question about why he changed all references to the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit a few months back. I don't know. So he changed the. What do you mean? So he changed the words. He just flipped them. So there's no so he has no reference to the Holy Ghost. It's only the Holy Spirit, or he changed it from every place that says Holy Ghost is Holy Spirit. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, that's a good question. I don't know why. That's definitely a fine question to ask him. I don't know. Brother Bryson got up on there and said that. So I don't. So when I monetarily, I will because I'm going to order it, so obviously get paid. But I would buy him like I would pick up anything else because I like comparing all the translations and different. I enjoy that kind of stuff. That's me. I guess I'm a nerd, Bible nerd. I guess never thought I'd be a nerd. I wasn't one in high school, that's for sure. Yeah, I like Holy Ghost as well. Maybe people don't like the word ghost. I don't know. But I want it for that fact is I have all these other ones. I have these awful ones in here. I'm gonna get it and look at in comparison to all the other ones. I'm more than happy to do so. But that being said, I will support by buying because I want it in my references to look at to compare them to other versions. But I don't agree that we needed one. And that's where I think we'll definitely agree on. I don't think we needed one. That's where I disagree with him. I don't think he's not a Christian because he wrote it. I'm just saying I don't think we needed one. I have yet to find a King James Bible believing Christian that has difficulty with the King James Bible. And when there are words, I mean, like I have the Webster's up there, the Noah's Webster, the 1828 that everybody gets. I have the same one. It's their definitions. And yes, when I was watching one of Nick's videos, I guess Sam Gipp was in it, and he was saying something about basically the definition is in the Bible. You don't need it. You don't need a dictionary and stuff like that. Sometimes that is true. Just the other day, or was it Sundays? I forgot what day we were Bible reading. Sunday. We were doing Bible reading on Sunday with the boys, and I asked him if he knew what that word meant, and I can't remember. I can start writing these down so I can tell you guys about it. But he knew what the word was because the context of the sentence, so he knew what the word meant. He never had seen the word before, didn't look it up, but he did know what it meant in context. And when people take a word out, it can change context. I've definitely seen some people are taken aback by the word Holy Ghost. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen it. Ghost synonym for spirit is like saying congregations of church. I don't support changing it, but basically it means the same thing. So, my question here would be then, if it means the same thing, I think everybody knows where we go. Holy Ghost is, the Holy Spirit. So then we don't need to change. I would think we don't need to change at that point. That would be my point. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to look at it objectively and say, if the Holy Ghost means the same thing as Holy Spirit, and you know that, then I don't think we need to change something. It is like saying congregation instead of church. I don't support changing it, but basically mean the same thing. Okay, it can mean the same thing, so why change it? I don't think you make it more modern. I don't think all of a sudden that changes it to make it easier to understand. And maybe where he goes, New Zealand, I guess, and Pakistan. I'm not sure where he goes. Maybe where he goes, for some reason, ghost and spirit. But then I would think he'd be doing it to his. What was that? I forget what he was talking. Not the Hindus or something where he goes. Their type of language. So, in theory, I don't have a problem of a modern translation of the TR. In practice, they all often go the way of the Hindenburg. KJV may have archaisms, but no errors. And that's and I invite you, I think I put it finally in a playlist, the 1611. I'm not trying to like make you watch all my videos, but if you go in there, in the beginning, I actually put my kids in there and what their percentages were of reading, because I just tested them by taking out all these different words and situations, and they got high grades. My Alex was always getting over 90% of it right from the 1611, and my younger one, he's 11 now. He just turned 11, but he was 10 at the time. He was scoring in the 70% of the time, getting them right. Then there was a few times he was high 80s. So. And they're 13 and 11. Well, now they're 13 and 11. The other one had a birthday. So they can figure out the words. Why can't James White? I agree with you. If it says Holy Ghost, leave it Holy Ghost. Don't change the Holy Spirit. Yeah, I don't see the need to. So now I got to order it up and go through it. And to me, that's not. Yeah, well, you're talking to Colin, but Nick says the archaisms are the reason why he felt the need to update. Okay, I can understand that for like a Comte. That's the popular one, right? There's other ones in there, but that's. I think he means well. I had no idea what you guys were talking about. I just looked it up. The man made a new translation. Yes. I had never heard of it until on his channel. Just like no one's ever heard of my books unless they came out of this channel. But yeah, he made a translation. It's quite the endeavor. I don't remember if he did it himself or if he worked with other people that helped him on it. I don't know. That I don't remember. So I am starting to wonder which TR edition, MT edition he believes in. Is it Baze's edition of TR and Ham's edition of MT? You'd have to ask him. I don't know specifically which he's in, or which edition or what year or it's like I could never speak for him on that one, only because I've never heard him talk about anything of that nature. So I don't know. So I've never heard him. Brother Calvin might have heard him talk about it, or Brother Forever Shall Stand. I've never heard him say it. I mean, I like Brother Nick, and I think he's got a lot of good stuff. Oh, there you go. Whoops, hold on. Wait, Beza. So it's Beza. Thank you, Brother Calvin. Appreciate it. Growing up with KJV and its strong support for Jesus deity kept me staying away from cults. Amen. I grew up with the NIV, and it led me to rock music. There you go. I mean, there's your fruit right there. There's your fruit. I just watched a video of this guy. I don't know who he is, but he's talking about Christian heavy metal, and he's going on how great it is, and da-da-da, and it really opened up a new crowd, and they owe it all to a guy named Larry Norman. I watched this video. It's like got to be like a 40-minute video. It had Striper in there. It had all the stuff, and it absolutely blew my mind. And then one thing it struck me. One of the members of Striper, I don't know, one of the brothers, Matthew Sweet, I think it is a Sweet. I'm pretty sure it's Sweet. It's not Sweat. I always say Sweat. They said, they in the 1990s it was rough for them because they were, drinking is okay, but they started drinking way too much, and it really affected their music. I'm like, wait a second. And then as you look at it, Striper died out. They had like 4 good years, right? From like 83 to 87. I've listened to Striper before. Okay. I was a teenager, a young teenager or older teenager. I don't even know how old I was in that young teenager. When they came out, I was probably 13 years old, maybe 14, something like that. But it didn't surprise me because once they died out, what happened? They went into depression and alcohol. I mean, there's your fruit right there. It always seems to be that way. When you're into false stuff and bad stuff, it just goes wrong. Thank you. Music is great. Use discernment on the lyrics, though. And I would say no heavy metal. I'm very anti heavy metal. I'll be straight up on that one. I grew up in the Assemblies of God in a Pentecostal church. And I listened to rock music in the secular world and the Christian world. Because I thought to myself, oh, wait, this sounds like the world music. And well, I didn't say world music, but this sounds like the music on the radio that my friends listen to. This is awesome. I can listen to the same music, but it's religious. I don't know how religious because I've never heard the lyrics of any of their songs. I've never heard the lyrics of Striper. I've never heard, those on Petra, I know a couple of their lyrics. But I would have to say most of their music that I listened to at that time, I don't remember any of the lyrics to them. I didn't even know them then. I didn't know what I was listening to. I listened to the sound. The sound was awesome, and I liked it then. And it was easy to fool your parents back then because, we don't like rock music. Wait, it's Christian? Yeah, it's Christian. They say they're Christian. Oh, yeah, go ahead. That's wild, man. That's wild. That's right. But he was going on and on about, and then you look at these guys, they fell off and they end up with issues, and some got into some drugs and then got out of drugs, and some were into rehabs. And I'm like, so tell me how they were any different. I say this all the time. What's the difference between an atheist and a Christian walking to watch a, Marvel superhero? What's the difference? You both live in the same worlds. I'll get pushback on it. I always do. But what's the difference? Now, I will say this: I am particularly drawn to an early '70s style music, acoustic guitar and stuff like that. I enjoy that. I'm big on acoustic music. I have an acoustic guitar over there. It's a gift from a brother of in Christ. He was a good guy. He gave me that. Uh, the biggest argument against Christian rock and rap is where was it centuries ago? Well, someone once told me that acoustic guitar you shouldn't have, and I'm thinking, well, the harp has strings, right? I'm just this is my opinion. A harp has strings. I mean, yes, we can start going acoustics fine. Well, electric guitar has strings. Well, heavy metal is only using a guitar, heavy strings. Yeah, but you're turning this distortion, all the way up, and yeah, but he gets out on a slippery slope with it. But yeah, I like the CCM music. I never really liked the modern CCM music outside of like the Petra and the Striper. I just you see the stuff today, and while you see what Michael Tate and all that fallout, you see all that. I don't care for any of it. Everything is trying to compare it to the world. The Christian music matches the modern world, and I will say that I think secular early '70s music was easier to listen to the modern Christian music, and I'm talking about the Christian rock stuff. And you got what are these bands? What? It was a band that wore makeup. Who was the Christian band that wore eyeliner? I can't remember who they were. I can't think of who they were at all. It's slipping me at the moment. But you got all these bands that just did like the world, but you know, like I said, I did like some of the early '70s stuff, but mostly I listen to a lot of instrumental stuff. I'll listen to a little bit of bluegrass stuff, but uh, uh wait, I missed this one. Hold on. As a teen, I was forced to go to a couple of big Pentecostal events. It was rock music with long-haired guys in the band. Yeah, I now refer to that as going to the club. Yeah, that's um now the only music that I went to see. So the first Christian artist or the Christian artist, I don't know if they're Christian at all. I don't even know if they exist anymore. But it was a guy named Rick Kua. Rick Kua. I can see it now still. I think it's CUA, Rick Kua. He was actually playing at my high school. It was so at my high school he was there doing a concert, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. So I went, and it was just standard rock music. It's just one guy, he's a guitar player, and whatever. Nothing overly impressive, but I'm like, whatever. That was the first Christian rock band I went to, that or rock music or a Christian band, whatever. The second one I went to was Michael W. Smith. I was forced to go to Michael W. Smith. That was a youth, and talking about youth, that was my church youth. We went to see Michael W. Smith in Worcester, Massachusetts. Still there. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Romans 12:2. Amen. Thanks for throwing a verse. We haven't done verses in a bit. So awesome. Thank you, brother. All of them. I don't know what that was referring to. I might have said something. Um, Striper or Triton? I don't know what Triton is, but yeah, Striper with a Y, because supposedly their band was named after the verse in Isaiah that talks about stripes. I don't. Let's see. I don't know if what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm learning hymns in the Chet Atkins style. The fingerstyle patterns just make sense to me. Oh, cool. Chet Atkins is a pretty good guitar player. He's a secular person. Um, I think he did a concert or a duet with a guy named Mark Knopfler. Um, He's a secular guy, but yeah, Chet Atkins is pretty well known for his guitar abilities. I can tell you that. I'm trying to think of guitar players. Some good guitar players that were kind of early '70s and then became CCM was a guy named Phil Kagi. He's actually missing a finger. He played. Listen, he's missing a finger. If he can play with one finger gone, that's pretty good. I don't care what anybody says. That's amazing to me. But he used to be in a rock band called in the late '60s, early '70s called Glass Harp. And then he got converted, I guess, during that whole Jesus revolution, probably. It doesn't say when he got converted. He just became a Christian in Chicago, actually, I think. This is something I've wrestled with. Before I was saved, I was lost in the heavy metal, death metal stuff. God reached me where I was and saved me. I've listened to some Christian metal and wonder if I am wallowing in the old man and not putting on the new like I should. I will say, I'm not trying to be the bad guy here, but I just don't think anybody should be listening to heavy metal. And go back to the statement you just said here. Heavy metal, death metal. God is not the God of the dead. It's God of the living. So I think death metal is absolutely insane. I mean, it just sounds evil. I just don't think. I'm just giving you my opinion, brother. I'm not trying to throw stones at you. I'm just giving you my opinion, bro. The 1960s generation warned about the Beatles. Now it's elevator music. Isn't that weird? When Beatles sound better than the music of today. I never liked the sound of the Beatles. I just never did. I thought it was terrible. The New Testament mentions psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. The church ignores any discernment about if music is spiritual nowadays. Now, how do you mean? Because you wrote some other stuff. I'm gonna read that in a second. Like I said, I have an acoustic guitar, and I like acoustic music, and I think there's nothing. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with acoustic music, and the lyrics have to praise God. It can't just be about yourself. It can't be just, I don't know, generic. I guess it can be, but everything we listen to or do should glorify God. Ephesians 5:19 KJV. 19, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. But again, and I sang a couple of psalms. I did a couple of videos. I'm not a very good singer or great guitar player, but I did post a couple of songs before. So I love the psalms. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. Another aim. Oh, I was about to say amen, but apparently Calvin beat me to it. I will say you are in sin for listening to rock or out the meanings, for I confess I struggle too with rock. Okay. So, what I see here, and I think it's all in love among the brethren, and I really hopes that we're not we're trying to help each other out of something. We're not trying to create hate, and because we all struggle sometimes with things, right? Newer Christians, obviously, more than older Christians, most of the time. I feel like this is coming loose for some reason, but there are times that we all have a struggle. Like when I told you about I had to suppress a little bit of that anger in my stomach, and my gut hurt because you could have said different things at somebody, and then you had to think and stop back. And I thought about my sons. If my sons were there in that moment, would I be living up to the expectations I give for them? When they see me, am I a false witness to am I a failure to my own testimony? So sometimes we have to swallow our pride, things like that. So Roy Clark was underrated guitarist. Yes, he was. I do know who Roy Clark was. I actually knew about him back in the 80s, actually.
I have an older brother. He's 10 years older than I am. So I was introduced to music pretty young, I guess, from my older brother. My grandfather on my mother's side, he's no longer with us. He actually killed himself. He played, if I remember correctly, he played banjo, he played violin, he played piano, and accordion. That's all I can remember. Let's see. Main Christian music is hymns and psalms, prayer songs. Wayne and Bibby is a channel name where I've learned a few hymns from. Okay. Proverbs 8:36, but he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they hate me love death. Amen. Music can help people with trauma. Now, what's your opinion? And I'm actually, I put music obviously on my intros to these videos. Well, I have only one for so I only have one. It Is Well With My Soul that I have with the Westcott Hort. The reason I picked that one is a couple reasons. I got the King James Bible so all as well, but it was written at the same time as the Greek text by Westcott and Hort. So I just thought it was kind of fitting to put that in there. But I have different music in there. So what is your opinion on the music? And I'm not offended. I'm actually very curious. So how you feel about that? Spiritual lyrics have to be drawn from or drawing us to Scripture. The music should demonstrate reverence of God. Oh, Be Careful, Little Ears is a good little book on discerning godly music. I'll have to look that up. I don't know that book. My favorite hymn is It Is Well With My Soul. What is y'all favorite? Leaning on the Everlasting Arms is one. Solid Rock is another one of my favorites. It Is Well With My Soul is good, but oddly, it's not on my favorites list. You'd think it would be, but I think it's appropriate that I used it for the other video. I definitely would have to say Leaning on the Everlasting Arms is definitely one of my favorites. Solid Rock is definitely one of my favorites. Man, these are good questions. Amazing Grace, you can't beat Amazing Grace. That's a classic. It's easy to pick. That's an easy one to pick, I think, because we all know that one, like that one. That'd be another one of my favorite. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I mean, if anybody that does one of those top 5 lists or top 10 lists, I would think that's always going to rank pretty high up there every time. I love them all. I love it. I'll give 2. Surely Goodness and Mercy and Only a Sinner Saved by Grace. Oh, good one. Man of Sorrows, Come Thou Fountain. That's good. Those are good ones too. See? Yeah, these are good ones. Well, all right, so for you guys, I'm going to have to start putting some of these in. Blessed Assurance I actually like that song. I do like that song. Man of Sorrows, Come Down. I'm going to have to write these down and I'll have to put them in the intros for you guys. I'm always trying to think of the next one to put in. I try to think of things, and I put in I usually put it I try to find different ones to put in there. But It Is Well With My Soul, I already have that in the Westcott Hort one videos. Amazing Grace. I think I've used different versions of Amazing Grace. Man of Sorrows. For a second, you know what I was thinking was Man of Constant Sorrows. Come Thou Fount. That's a good one. Let's see. Day by Day. You got me on this one. Day by Day. I don't know that. Day by Day. Bass. Is that one song? Oh, and. Yeah, I see the and now. See, that's another. When you look at modern versions today and stuff like that, Bibles, if you take something out like and, Day by Day is another good one, face to face. If you take out and, the context is missing. Oh, sorry, I went off for a second, but you get that in the modern versions. Take something out, changes things. Oh my goodness, Sandy Patty. Are you dating your age, sir? Because I'm in my 50s, so I would know that. I definitely know who Sandy Patty is. My father liked Sandy Patty. I will be honest, I was never a Sandy Patty fan. Sorry. That was the same time. Who was around at the same time? Wayne Grube or Gruden? Wayne Grube? Wayne? Nope. Or Russ Tapp. I think that's another time from that point. Oh, yeah. I do listen to him. So I've been meaning to look into him to see. I mean, it's tough sometimes because you don't know who's a Christian, born again Christian. I mean, we all know when Dolly Parton sings a hymn, we know she's not a Christian. If Brother Christopher's here, you know what I'm talking about. She ain't no Christian. But yeah, Josh Snodgrass, I do like him. I think I used a couple of his songs once, but I think you have to pay like copyrights and stuff like that, so that's hard. But if you all listen to it, Rugged Cross. I just saw Rugged Cross pop up. Yes, I love the old man. That's definitely, and I've already played that one as well on my intros. I love that song. How great that are. These are songs I used to sing in the kitchen up north with the boys and my wife. Those are some of my favorites. Yeah, it's tough, but he's really good. I'll tell you, he's even got harmonics down. He does, one of them, he does harmonics. Harmonics is tough to do. I can't do harmonics on the guitar. It's when you put, I'm not giving anybody the middle finger, but when you put when your finger down lightly. Oh, I'm not going to play music. I'm just saying, if you're putting your finger just like, I could never get the harmonics. It comes out just a certain way. You can't do it. So I mean, they'll play it. They're like, and then they'll get to the harmonic part of it, and I can never do it. I can never get that harmonics down. My older brother can nail it. He can do it perfectly. But Josh Snodgrass is a very good, talented guy. He has some good stuff. You guys got me writing down 1,000 songs. I feel like I'm going to be a DJ in the next month here. Now, I guess this will cover me for the next 2 years, all these intro musics. Okay. All right. Brother Jorge, I have your phone number, so I'm going to text you so we can end this because... yeah. I'm gonna write you one sentence, and that's all you need to know about that man. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm texting brother Jorge. He's up in New Hampshire. I mean up north. I shouldn't have given a state. I'm sorry. And done. I just sent you a text, brother. Yeah, he's up in New England where I used to live. I live here in Tennessee now. Let's see. Did I miss something? Rugged Cross. I'm not sure. Let's see. At Calvary Hymn. Okay. I don't know that I've heard that one. I may have just didn't know the title. At Calvary. All right. Nope. Ever hear Jeff Fenholt hymns? I have not. Writing it down now, brother. I will definitely. I love music, man. I love good, clean music. Just good music. I don't know what to say. I have Jeff Fenholt. Fenholt hymns. How do you do accidental harmonics? I wish I could do accidental harmonics. No, I'm just joking. Tell me the story of Jesus. All right, so he was born. No, I'm just kidding. That was sorry. Come on, I'm trying to have a little humor on that one. Tell me. Yes, I just mentioned that one earlier. Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. That's one of my favorites. I used to play that one a lot up in the kitchen up north. What was it? Tell me the story. Oh, Jesus. All right. Okay, we're creating a radio program at this point, musical radio. I do love At Calvary. Mercy was there and grace was free. Pardon there was multiplied to me, and there my burden soul found at Calvary. Sweet, abide with me. Liberty. Liberty. I don't know that song. Are you referring to the text? Because that's, yeah. Abide with me. Abide with me. Hey, brothers, I'm going to put these all in my intros. I'm telling you. So now you're going to have to come to live stream just so you can hear whose favorite got put up here. Abide with me. Okay. I got the next year planned out at this point. Liberty, let's see. Here is At Calvary, him beginning. Years I spent in vanity and pride, caring not my Lord was crucified, knowing not it was for me he died on Calvary. Man, that's awesome. At Calvary, another At Calvary. That's 3 At Calvaries. Maybe At Calvary is the one I do next week. Seems like, that's the popular one. See, this is what happens with this live stream. I just let it go wherever it goes. We just never know. Victory. So now Colin's got another one. Colin's got victory in Jesus now. We all got victory in Jesus, but we'll do the song. Victory in Jesus. It's going to be 3:00 in the morning. We're going to still be naming off songs. Be strong in the... Where's my click here? Be strong in the Lord. That's my plan. Be strong in the Lord. Be strong in the Lord. If anyone wants to pray, just pray that young lady that I forgot her. Well, I forgot. I never saw her email. That she understands that I didn't overlook her, and I'm gonna try to email her and apologize to her. Hopefully, she'll understand that I didn't overlook her, and I feel really bad when I miss something like that. I feel real bad. I don't avoid anybody with that. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 songs in here. That's like 12. So let's see. That's 3 months of intros for live streams. So that's not bad. Some people may not be here because they might be still on our brother Nick's channel over there. 5 hours. He did a 5-hour tape. Still, but somebody can go that long. As I look at the time, and we're at 3 hours, so I guess I got nothing to say. It always fascinates me about the story behind the "It Is Well with My Soul" hymns, especially the first verses referring to the events with sorrows like sea billows roll. Yeah, because they were on the ship. They were in that ship, and to be sailing like they were on some yacht. They were sailing on that yacht over the seas as it was billowing. The sea was billowing. The world is not my home is now on my playlist. I think that's on what that in that songbook I got last week. The country western one I found at that flea market. I'm not sure. It might be in here. I don't know if I should go through it right now. Yeah, I'm not going to go through it right now. The world is not my home. I'm running out of these little index cards. Let's see what we got. All right. This world is... I can't keep doing this all night, guys. Like, this world is not my home. This world is not my home. Yeah, I think I'm going to order up that as fast as I can, the King James Bible there, the KJV 2023 by Nick Sayers. I will order that up so I can actually, if he's going to do a video about it, I might try to get it read just to talk to, New Testament to go through it. That would be interesting to do with him. Be thou my vision. Yeah, I think it's again, what is the best way to say this about that? Other than I just don't think we need it. And I'd have to really figure out why he feels that we needed it. If it's just archaic words, I think we can explain them to people that we come across. I think, I mean, like, we know divers, we could figure that one out. Comps to account. I'm trying to think of some of the words off the top of my head. It's getting late, so I guess I can't think of all the words. But why can't we just explain something in 2 seconds? When we come across a word in our Bible readings, because we sit around, we read as a family. So when I come to a word that I'm pretty sure no one knows, when I say no one, I meant the two youngest ones. Obviously, my wife will know the word, but I ask them, you know what that means? And sometimes I'm not sure, and I'll actually ask them what they think it means, because more often than not, they'll read it again, and it makes them reread, by the way. Read again, and they're like, does it mean? And more often than not, they actually get it right. So I'm not completely sold. As Forever Shall Stand had said earlier, brother, you're right. I'm like, he's not interested at all, and that's fine. I wouldn't, if I wasn't into this type of stuff, I would probably never order it, or I'd probably never buy it. But because I get in, that this is my exciting world that I like to be in, I like doing the stuff. With that being said, this beautiful world, I have, and I say this all the time, I have an amazing wife who, just an amazing biblical, godly wife who is always supported this. I don't ever have to go explain to my wife that I'm going out to do this. I've had times where I was exhausted to do videos in the past and just had long weeks. I'm getting a little tired now. These long weeks and I'm tired, and she says, no, I know you feel tired, but you go do it. You are going to do it. You wanted to do this. You said you do it. Do it. You can do this. And I go down and do it. I get the videos done. Oh Sacred Head Now Wounded. That's one I definitely never heard of. That doesn't sound familiar to me. I'm not saying it's not a good one. I just definitely haven't heard that one. I agree that we don't need it, but I do think there are some people of lower IQ, yikes, or younger folks that might. Oh, joking about the younger folks. But yeah, no, there's some people I get are not geniuses, but that's why, and that's the problem. Now, I've said this about other things in life. We seem to lower the bar for people instead of lift the bar. Why is that? And I think that's what happens with that plays a very small part in modern translations, but the same thing. We're lowering the bar. Okay, I'm stumbling on my words. I was talking to my wife yesterday, and we were talking about how work ethic and stuff like that, and what was expected 20 years ago as what is expected now. So I'm a forklift operator, a reach truck, terra handler, propane gas, all sorts of goodies, high and lows, and that's what I do. I used to do driving, which I'll get back to again, but back when I first started driving a forklift 30 years ago, there was a lot expected. I remember you had to go through this whole training, not just driving, but a training, videos and paperwork and tests and this and that. And it's 3 days of it to drive a forklift. And now, can you grab that skid right there? Bring it down, put it up. Can you drive over there? You're certified. And I see and I hear more incidences than ever before because our expectations have lowered. We have a dumbed down society. with more ability than ever to be more intelligent. We're not. We have more access to things, which can be detrimental. But, and this is where I guess I'm going to name call, we have more idiots than ever before. We've always had them. They've always existed. But when you lower the bar of expectation, what did you expect was going to happen? When you dumb it down, what do you expect to happen? Well, we just want, everything is Windows for Dummies now. Remember that yellow book? I think everybody's living off a yellow book nowadays. And a lot of Christians too. A lot of Christians keep saying that it's separate. Unfortunately, no, they're not, because we have people in the Christian world who are not completely where they should be because they follow a pastor or preacher who has gone to a seminary, who has embraced secularism, humanism, and that bleeds into that, and then it bleeds into congregation or churches, and then what do you have? And then this is my opinions. This is how I'm looking at it. I see some more songs in here. I want to see him. Okay. Again, that's my 2 cents. And with that being said about Nick, I feel like I'm picking on his Bible that he translated, or the new version. I'm not picking on him. I think he's very good in a lot of things. I think he does an amazing job in some of the stuff. If you're a nerd, the right type of nerd into that stuff, it's pretty cool stuff. It's great stuff. He does a phenomenal job, and I enjoy it. But yeah, that would be the one thing I just don't. I'm sure there's a couple other things. We all have things we disagree with, but I just don't see it. I just don't see the validation. Archaic words cannot be the validation for a whole new version. That would basically be like the same premise as James White and the rest of them, Daniel Wallace and all of them. That's what that would be. I want to see him. Wonderful words of life. What time is it, guys? It's 11 o'clock. We're gonna have to wind this down at some point. I'm not trying to break Nick's record of being here until 12 tomorrow. Just kidding. I'm teasing him, but he does a great job. Oh, I forgot about that song. Hold on. Wonderful words of life. Hold on. Yeah, here. I forgot about that. Rock of Ages, clap for me. Yeah, it's a good song. It's a Jewish idiom meaning everlasting strength. Huh. Hey, that was a new one. I didn't know that. That was a pretty cool, fun fact. Indeed, it was. Awesome. I didn't know that. In fact, actually, I think I've done that song on here. Instrumentals. Rock of Ages. We'll write that down. So, hey, thank you, everybody, by the way. If I forgot to say it again, I am thankful. I know it sounds weird. It's like a commercial or whatever, but I am thankful, and I'm grateful that there are people here and that people have come, and I'm glad everyone's felt comfortable enough to be here, and that's what we're trying to do here. And we're talking about song lyrics, but we can talk about a lot of different things. And I'm going to tell you right now, I guarantee you, everybody here knows something that someone else doesn't. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. That's what we're here for, to help each other out, to show each other ways, Brother Forever made some incredibly awesome points about the music. Really good points on that. I'm singling him out. Everybody made great points. So I shouldn't be singling anybody out. But thank you. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for the Lord Jehovah's everlasting strength. Isaiah 26:4. Okay. Nice. Hebrew for everlasting strength is Rock of Ages. That's awesome. I honestly did not know that. So that's pretty cool stuff. I don't mean that like sarcastic. That's pretty cool stuff. That's good to know. I didn't know that. All right. 3 hours and 7 minutes. I ain't Brother Nick. And I'm starting to feel like that because we be going down different trains. But 11 o'clock at night, I do got to get up in the morning. I promised my son I bring him to the RC store. My other son, we go to the coin store because now I just found out there's an RC car store. RCs, I'm sure you guys know what those are, little remote control cars. He's really into them. He likes those. He thinks they're cool. Listen, it's better than him playing video games. You know, a lot of kids playing video games these days. Just video games after video games. Something I want to discuss in the future, and you guys have been awesome, and I think you guys are really cool and being honest and straight up about things. I want to talk about idols and superheroes down the road. Tell me if you guys want to have a conversation about that. I'd like to see where we are all strike. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I feel about it. I think it's wrong to have superhero characters and all that kind of stuff and be wearing all shirts and stuff. That's what I think. That's where I'm at. Brother Bryson was, I think, respectful in here when he was telling, I forget who he was talking to, about the rock music, the heavy metal. Was that you, Colin? I'm sorry. But he did it in a respectful way, and I think that's awesome. It's not attacking anybody's respectfulness, and I think that's a great way to do it. Everybody, all of us need to be there for one another to help each other out. That's what I think we have forgotten, the true sense of being brothers and sisters in the Christ, and it's the brethren. We've forgotten things. We've forgotten what fellowship is. We forgot. We've put a standard or fellowship in a box where it only means one thing. Fellowship is getting together, talking about many different things. It can be about verses, scriptures, songs, a lot of different things, commentary. We talked about different things here. That's a fellowship. It's not a standard of I sing 3 songs, I listen to 2 verses, and then I go away. And I go home for the day. I just remember it differently when I was a kid, even in the false church of the Pentecostal Assemblies of God. All people weren't running out the door. It was talking, hanging about the place, you know. And as much as they're wrong in a lot of things, that part I think they got right. You know, that's my opinion. We can have a long conversation on idolatry. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at, I think more so, you know, should Christians be into certain things? And I don't think they should be. We don't want to call them complete sinners and going to hell, but we want to figure out how we explain to them so they get it. You know, I like to hear a lot of people's opinions, exhort one another. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. We need to rebuke at times properly and biblically. A lot of people don't know how to do that. I think they may have thought they did, but it comes out as anger and malice and destructiveness, and that's just not the way we do things, man. I think if we exhort, honestly, if there was more exhortation, we'd probably have less rebuking. You know, that's just where I'm at with that one. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. It's a little after 11 o'clock here. It's 11:11. Okay, that's interesting. That was weird. I don't know if that has any connotation. Maybe we'll wait till 11:12. But I am incredibly thankful. I really am. I've enjoyed this evening, and I look forward to a lot of talks like this. And I thank everyone. You guys brought some awesome stuff to the point, guys. Some things I wouldn't even thought of. So that's pretty cool. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate your time as always. Hey, have an awesome week. Have a great week. Just do the best you can to spread the word any way you can. God bless, and I hope to see you all next week. See you.